We got two people there. Hello, hello, hello. The individuals there. If you, uh,
Hello.
hey, 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 hi.
I
And
was watching your stream and I just heard two primes out of the blue. I was like, what is going on?
oh, two primes out of the blue. I don't know what you're talking about. Right? No. But yeah. If you could turn on your cameras. Turn on your cameras. That would be quite
Yeah,
useful.
sure.
Uh,
I'm gonna be a little dark, but like, I'm just in a dark room, but hopefully this is fine. I turned the brightness up as much as I could.
Okay, I gotta show the stream this. Because I gotta show the stream what I'm seeing right now. Everyone, please look at Nathan's camera. Right? Uh, does this man? Hold on, 1 second. Let me turn on my camera. Um, does it not look like this man is in a horror movie? Like, does it? like, like this is a shaky cam, like found footage, right? And he's like running from someone.
I'm like in one of those movies where the premise is like you're in a call and suddenly out of the blue, a random person joins.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, one or the other. Thanks so much. Okay. Yeah. And again, to the my rest of the channel, we'd love to have you. Exclamation point open in chat. Let you know how to join. So, hop on in.
So
Run
what happened
Nathan.
last night? I heard it got heated. I wasn't able to watch it.
Oh yeah,
Man's
super
in
fucking
potato
heated.
ADP.
Oh. Sorry. What'd you say?
I said this man's filming in potato ADP.
A potato 80 feet, huh? Yeah, I got super fucking heated last night. Holy crap. It was one of the most contentious streams we've had in a while, which is saying something because we have a lot of contentious streams on this channel. Yeah, it was about, I mean, look, it got into the Israeli-Palestine issue, but like that was kind of,
Oh boy.
but that was tangential to the issue. The issue was whether, African Americans should have solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters, right?
hmm
And that was like the main focus was the solidarity part, and that with other communities as well. And
hmm
it escalated a lot more than I could have possibly imagined. Someone had to get
Yeah.
banned. It was a thing. So
Oh shoot.
yeah,
Oh god damn.
these things
Oh,
happen.
someone's in the waiting room. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
I see.
Lonely.
Oh, wait, don't have
The
any
other
mods.
night
I know.
about intervention, that was most heated I ever got on the panel so far. When we're talking about
Sorry, I think we got a little feedback from the latest person. Hello, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we can hear ourselves on the stream, or hear ourselves talk back. Do you have like headphones or something that you can use, or
Yeah, they're on right now. Let me see.
yeah,
Is it double audio or is it?
yeah, we can hear ourselves.
Let me see if I can fix it.
Yeah, and if you have a camera, that'd be awesome too. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna try to fix this audio too. Yeah.
sure, sure, sure. Um,
the the chat is just curious who got banned.
sorry, I'm gonna mute Aaron for just a second. Just I have to mute you for the double audio. But we'll get back to you. Who got? It was someone you do not know. It was a new person.
Yeah,
A guy goes by the name Legend, and yeah, they
yeah,
got banned. That was unfortunate. I didn't want to have to do that, but it was TOS, and I had to do it. So it was no one.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was a person who had it was their first stream, and unfortunately they said some things they shouldn't have said, and they had to go. Yeah, last night's stream was extremely wild. If you had missed that one, holy crap! Holy crap! It
They're
was
in the mainstream or like the after stream.
um both. I mean, well, both, right? Yeah, yeah.
I
It
saw
was.
a little bit, and I could kind of get the sense that it was a little that it was pretty heated.
Yeah. But thank you. This Aaron. Hello, Aaron. Hi. Tell us about yourself. Oh, well, once I unmute you. Hello. You can. Yeah. Tell us about yourself. Aaron, can you hear us?
Hey, is that any better?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can hear my audio any better.
Yeah, we're good. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, like right before
Can you hear me?
yeah,
I think this might be a
your
lag.
channel for. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, it might be. Sorry, it's insane. Hey, can you?
That cat is persistent.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I've been watching your guys for like probably like 6 months, like every night, like because I was working at Amazon graveyards, but I said fuck Amazon and I'm out now, so I finally have more time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah. And but you haven't actually escaped Amazon since you're on Twitch. But well, thanks for being a part of it anyway.
Yeah, I can't escape. Oh.
Yeah. So it actually might be better if you don't have your video on because you're lagging a bit, but still, it's fine.
Super.
Yeah, you're super far behind.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have you on next time when you. We'll still keep you on the channel, but we'll have your video on next time if things change. But still, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. First of all, is there anything you guys wanted to discuss? Anything in particular, either dealing with the last panel or with anything else? Anything on your mind?
What is a I'm sure you guys talked about Israel Palestine yesterday.
Well, it escalated even more, right? Like throughout the night and into the morning as well.
Yeah, it was a rough one. But again, it was the solid day was the focus, and less the and then we got on topic religion and it exploded even more. So it was like explosive, like all the way to the end, like all the way to the last minute. It was a rough panel.
I gotta say, when it comes to solidarity, I mean, in my view, it's not that complicated. You know, I'm a person of color. I'm Hispanic. I'm Asian. I just view, you know, you gotta, if there's injustice, you gotta stand with those being affected by it, no matter where they are. It's simple. I think I heard, I might have been wrong. I don't want to represent anybody wrong, but I think I heard like it kind of reiterated that there needs to be something like you or your group like gets out of it before you stand in solidarity with another group. It's just like, I don't know if you need something. You know, I'm Asian. I'm Filipino, but like I'm gonna still stand with the Palestinians. You know what I mean? I'm gonna still stand with Black Lives Matter, and I don't necessarily like. I don't know. It's not an exchange. It's just doing what's right. You know.
I would agree. But yeah. Go ahead.
I just don't really know much about like the Palestinian thing.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it.
Like, done much research about it.
Well,
Yeah.
like, what was the main contention like between the whole
everyone
listen to that one topic.
Just watch the panel.
I have to watch the VOD.
Yeah, it's all there, and you shall see. No need to go over it, and especially people not here to defend themselves.
True.
So okay. I wanted to, and this is, so I've asked this question before, but I think I've only asked it on Lily, right? The Amazon Lily roundtable that we have on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there, right? But I wanted to ask you about the value of okay. I wanted to ask you that on relationships, is it okay to start a relationship based on something other than love? For instance, money. Is that I'm asking this to men now because I haven't. I don't think I've ever asked this to guys, but like, is it okay to? Is that if okay? I'll do it. We'll do it from two angles, right? One, if you were if wealthy. I'm not sure if anyone here is. I'm pretty sure none of you are wealthy. I'm gonna guess. But if you were, right, would you mind being in a relationship with someone who was there just for your money? And two, if you had a choice, because this actually came up a little while ago, if you had a choice, would you be in a relationship like for someone who was more financially powerful than you? I guess.
I guess okay, so I wouldn't mind being in a relationship with someone that's wealthier than me. That would be dope as fuck. I mean, like, but that I'll be honest. Like, the main thing in relationships for me is like I gotta really I think it's important that you actually like the person, you care about them, because I feel like okay, in the other scenario you pushed, if we had the wealth and someone was with us because of the wealth, it'll cause problem in the long run. So I just wouldn't suggest it. You know what I mean?
So I feel like there's so many like different scenarios and like variants here. Like if both the parties know that, you know, I'm just having a relationship with you for the money, and then the other person doesn't care because they just want a relationship, then that seems cool in my opinion. But as for myself, I'd have to think about that for a second.
Hmm.
I guess it's like the sort of like the sugar daddy sugar mama dynamic. If that's what some people, if that's what like people want, they can go for it.
1 second. Before we continue on, hey, our friend Counterpoints came back and he subbed for 1 month. Hello, Counterpoints. Thank you for subbing for 1 month. This is interesting. Okay,
Hey.
so Counterpoints was gifted a sub, a 6 month sub from our good friend Essay, and then Counterpoints also subbed himself. So I'm guessing this is a continuation of that sub. Thank you for being here, Counterpoints. He's a good member of our community. He runs a great channel. Exclamation point counter in chat. If you wanted to find his channel, it's a big deal. And sorry, as it exclamation Connor, sorry, Connor, exclamation Connor in chat. Is his channel. I should also probably out counter. But thank you, buddy, for coming through and for supporting. Of course, Essay was the one who first gave you that hot tier 1 gift sub. So you should thank Essay Counter for her utter kindness, right? So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, back to it. Thank you, Montreal player, for coming back. And Montreal player, like, so what's going on here, right? What's going on here? I'm a little confused. Because when you appeared on camera for the open panel, for the special panel that you were just on, it was a little weird because I didn't recognize your background, and then now you're back to what it seems to be a garage.
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?
I can't smoke joints in my office
Okay.
because kids in the house and stuff like that. But this has a nice open garage door, so tons of ventilation.
Okay. All right.
And, that's it.
So
But
travel
the
with a
microphone's
laptop.
better at the other place.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But thanks for being here. One or the other. We were talking about. I'm not sure how much of that you caught. We were talking about relationships and whether it would be okay, one, to be in a relationship with someone who was there just for your money. Not sure if you're wealthy, but if you were, would you accept that? And on the other side, would you get in a relationship with a person for money? With money being the primary motivation here, not the only motivation. It could be other reasons, but the primary motivation. And thank you, Zen, for gifting 100 bits and earning your 10K bits badge. That's really cool. Oh, awesome, Zen. Thank you for your constant support. So yeah, that question is to you, to Aaron, to Nathan. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think any relationship is good for whatever reason, as long as you're both getting something out of it, right? Something positive, hopefully, right? Clearly, relationships are a little more holistic than that. But I don't think we have to hold to some like purity of like, no, relationships must be for noble or reasons that we consider noble and pure all the time. There's all kinds of relationships, okay, and that encompass different facets. I don't think we should hold them to any one template. Personally,
The only way I could see it as being wrong is if the other person is being led on, like you're telling them that it's not for money, like you love them, this and that. That's the only kind of way I can see it as wrong, because then the other person doesn't know what's going on. But if it's like consensual and they both know, I feel like that's fine.
Or if something comes up down the road and they like don't tell you about it, and yeah, like it just turns into what you're talking about, like that's obviously one-sided where one person wants one thing and someone else wants something else.
We'll
again, I
say.
mean, like if I for some reason, God forbid anything happened right to my wife and I was rich and stuff like that, would I engage in the sugar daddy relationship? Of course I would. Of course. Okay, is she with me because of my wit and charm? Maybe not, but am I gonna care? I don't think so. I don't think so. As long as I don't make any delusions about what's going on here, I think I'll be fine, and I can end it whenever I feel like, oh, this has become something I don't even want to maintain anymore.
Like, what
Right.
about people who date like 90-year-olds so they can wait till they die and then collect their money?
If
What
the
about in that
90,
circumstance?
I mean, if the 90-year-old's cool with it, then whatever. You're rich. Do whatever the fuck you want with it, right? I wouldn't even tell my own dad what to do with his money. Okay, honestly, sometimes I'm like, you know what? You've given me a good life. You've given me all the advantages I need. I'm gonna succeed on my own. If you want to blow the rest of your money on hookers and cocaine, all right, then I hope you have a great time. You know?
I gotta say, like, with the idea mentioned earlier of just being with a partner that makes more money than you, I guess. Wouldn't it be nice? Okay, all right. It would be dope for like if I had a wife to be the breadwinner, and I'm just like fucking,
The
I'm
trophy
not.
husband
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I would want
sitting at
that.
home, sitting at home
Yeah.
working out, getting your body in top shape. Maybe fixing up the house. You know, you do a lot of manual labor. That'd be good. That's a
Absolutely.
life.
It's like reverse
Build a
Stepford
gazebo in the
Wives.
back.
Me
Oh,
and my
yeah.
me and my girl always joking about. I'm always like, yeah, I need a sugar mama, so I don't have to pay for anything. And she's like, yeah, as long as you get one that can pay for both of us, that's cool.
True. Well, yeah. I
Yeah, my
mean,
jokes, but
it sounds great. Now, the thing is, I mean, I also am like super fucking like, I also want a career, so I'll never get to the point where I'll be a house husband. But you know, it's his life. Too ambitious.
You never know.
that's
You
me
never
at the
know.
moment.
True.
You might have like a 180 in lifestyle. Oh, sorry, that's saying I don't even know you. Maybe you're already halfway there. You might have a change of direction in lifestyle, and you decide, you know what, screw it. Getting in shape and doing house construction, because these are the only two things that would make you a trophy husband, apparently, right? Are the way to go, and you excel at those things, and then you find someone who will find that useful. I'll support you,
True.
pay all your bills. All you have to do, okay, is build me a new kitchen. All right, and we're gold. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
I would love
Oh.
that, honestly. I wish my wife was the breadwinner. I wish it wasn't me. God, what a pain in the ass. What a pain in the ass position it is. All this stress, all this stuff going on that you have to shelter your whole family from. Ugh.
You know, honestly,
I think
you know,
me and you are in a similar boat, my friend.
I mean, like, you know, I'll be thinking about like, you know, doing housewife shit for like myself, like, but like the thing is like I hate fucking chores, bro. I hate cleaning shit. I hate folding clothes. I can't do it. That shit's harder.
Hi.
I'd rather
I just want
go,
to say, all
you
right,
know.
that's it. This is in, and I live that life.
You're
Oh.
the trophy husband?
Yes, I am.
There you go.
Nice.
That's the way.
You're living the life we all want.
I'm like, it does exist, guys. It does exist.
I'm sure it does.
I'm almost 50, but yeah. So I'm like semi-retired because she's kicks ass.
Nice.
That's a good
That's
one.
good. But do you do the house construction? Do you do the renovations yourself?
I've definitely helped with each, and if it's something I couldn't do, I organized the contractors and got them in and took care of all that.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
We are about to build some new stuff out there, and yeah, this time we're gonna do it ourselves.
Ah, nice. That's yeah. Sorry, I love building my own stuff.
Yeah, right on.
I mean, sometimes it's garbage, but you know what? At least I built it myself. I know the contractor. If it breaks, I know who to call, right?
Yeah,
And I'll probably do it better next time.
Learn from it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I guess. Well, thank you for being here, Zing. Nice to have you around, buddy. Yeah. Do you have a camera?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, be helpful. So like,
Let me fix that.
oh my god, what is this? What was that?
Be right
Mass
back. I'm
Effect.
just gonna turn my camera
Mass
off so I can
Effect.
get a light.
Okay, sure. Oh,
It's just
okay.
Mass Effect.
Oh, okay. I actually love that game.
The Legendary Edition came out today. It lets you play through all 3 of them again, and yeah, remastered and all that shit. So it's pretty cool. Let me fix that too.
Okay. So I guess I was asking this question over okay, never mind. Oh, we have a new person. Hello, Sorel.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, nice to meet you. How are you?
Doing good. I was just glad I can join another open panel. I believe it's the second one I'm on. I've been listening for a while, and the kind of interesting perspective I have in that I am currently in a relationship with like someone. She makes far more than I
There you
do,
go.
Okay. Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I thought it'd be fun to like chime in with the conversation and kind of like oops, sorry, was it guys something to stream in that also to echo, I can't remember who said it, but like yeah, oh god, everyone needs to know beforehand, otherwise it will cause problems.
Hmm.
Absolutely, everyone needs
Sure.
like all parties involved need to know. Like I had to make it explicitly clear. It's just like, look, I'm unemployed, and you've carved your way into a really, really good part of your industry.
Mm.
So there's a gap here. I ain't going to be able to, like, if we go for dinner, I've had to save up for this, whereas this is like 2 weeks ago's paycheck that you still haven't dug into yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. If you just stay in shape, right, you're probably gonna outlive her, right? And then you inherit everything, right?
Oh jeez.
Right. Also, you're in great shape the whole time, so you're feeling good. It's win-win. I don't know why society hasn't reorganized to this yet.
What does
I
you
know, I'm
do with
kinda
being in
medically-
shape?
I'm medically fucked, so I don't know if that's possible, but I could attempt.
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess this kind of takes us to another question, which is about like the move in society for like stay-at-home dads, right? Dads, people are slowly becoming more okay with this concept. I have a friend in my life who is a stay-at-home father. His wife just happened to make more money, not like rich or anything like that, just more money than he was making. And then childcare is unbelievably expensive here in the States, extremely expensive here in the
Oh my
States.
god, yeah.
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 And so people decide, okay, I guess I'll just stay home. It's like not worth it to make a paycheck that goes all into childcare any which way. So how do you guys feel about stay at home? Like, would you be a stay at home father if you had the choice? Would that be something enjoyable? Like Nathan, you said you're like career focused.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
I'd do it all day.
I mean, okay, so like, I want to have a kid one day, but I'm not 20. It's not gonna be soon. But hopefully in this decade, I can work on like a lot of career stuff. I'm already trying to do like the streamers stuff. Already planning for a city council run by the next election cycle. You know, would I don't think I would ever choose to be stay at home just because of the way my direction is. Though, I mean, if I am doing like career something like, okay, if I recall correctly, for example, like the Florida state legislator, they're not always in Tallahassee all the time, right? they spend a lot of time like at home. They have like a session and then they go home. So if I'm doing stuff like streamer stuff, I could attend to like a kid, you know what I mean? Of course I'm not gonna be absent, all right? But yeah, I mean, I do think in general for people, it is tough to be at least one of their parents to be a stay-at-home parent. It's not like what we had before. You know, in a lot of cases, both partners are working. So I guess, hey, one of the things we need to focus on politically, I think Shuan had actually said this, but like I think she said like, why aren't we working towards making a sort of society where you could have one of the partners staying at home? You know, we got to help people. We got to expand economic opportunity. But yeah.
Zarel, do you feel like you face stigma as a person who's, you said, currently unemployed, and then as a partner who makes significantly more than you?
So I personally don't, due to like I tend to be a bit like online. I can say whatever because, like, you know, I don't know any of you. You don't know any of me on like on a personal detail, but like in like the local level, I tend to stay secretive about it. And so I've kind of avoided the stigma, but I've kind of like just kind of kicked the problem down the road a little bit. By avoiding that stigma, I've kind of put myself into I've chosen to be secretive. But like, I'm sure if I were to tell like some people, like, you know, it's kind of one of those like during like because of the pandemic and all that sort of stuff, I still live at home with my like, you know, I live at home with my family mainly because of the pandemics and stuff. And the family income is less than what my partner makes on her own. So like if I told people, like if I would just like tell any random person on the street, I know for a fact I will get people being like, what the fuck? Are you sure you're the dude in the relationship? Now, funny story, I'm trans, so like, you know, there is that, but obviously because, like, you know, voice and the whatever this is, I like, you know, that excuse doesn't get to fly if I'm talking to random strangers on the street. Like, it will absolutely be brought up. Like, are you sure? Even though, like, in this, like, we've gotten to a point where it doesn't actually matter. Like, you know, I can't remember. I don't know what it's like in the States, but like, you know, here in Ireland, like women have been in the workforce for like quite a long time. So like, obviously, in this day and age, a lot of them will have been able to carve paths into industries and climb pretty high in the job ladder. So like, yeah, I suppose there's this like assumption that like, you know, oh, women should stay in like the entry level jobs. Like, you know, women should be the ones working in like the entry level jobs. Men, they work in the accountant's department, right? Like, there's still that, but it's been slowly, at least here in Ireland, it's been slowly going down.
So, yeah. I myself have never. Well, actually, I guess my last relationship, the woman I was with, did happen to make more money than I did, significantly more money than I did. But she was not good with the sharing part, which is fine. I was making my own money, so it was okay. But like, it wasn't great on that end of things.
Was there a lot of you pay for this, you pay for that?
Yes,
like,
it was exactly that.
Yeah.
It was exactly that. Oh man! And should we get rid of? Okay, I guess we talked about this a little bit in Lily, right? We're talking about chivalry, but like, should we get rid of that? Like, do you guys think that? I mean, since I just have a group of guys here, and we love to have more people. Exclamation open in chat if you want to join us, right? So like, I don't want to make it just a guy talk. Like, you know, that's all we have to work with currently. But should we get? I mean, is that actually a better way of doing things, right? She was like, okay, I'll pay for one thing, and you pay for the next thing, or we'll split or something like that, right? but she was like she kept track, right? Because it had to be even in her mind, right?
Oh, no.
Okay, she was meticulous about it too.
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
So
okay.
were you
well,
guys
that's-
living together?
No, not.
Because
Oh,
my
you know what?
girlfriend and I, before we were living together, we kept things like that. Now, like, she's a stay-at-home mom, like I make the money, whatever. But before we were living together, it was like you pay for this, you pay for that, and I feel like we were doing it more as like we were trying to do our own thing. Like she went home to her house, she paid for her stuff, I paid for my stuff until we actually like joined in. I don't know if it was a situation like that for you, or if she was just like, nah, I'm not paying for anything unless it's just for me.
No, I guess
I know a lot
no.
of couples. Sorry.
But no, Macho, please.
I know a lot of couples that still do that, right? Like they've been together, they have a kid, right? And they're still like, okay, these bills are yours. Yeah, I know. Look, for me, it's alien. My wife and I have like we're like basically one entity, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
with
me and
with
mine
different
too.
roles. No, exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever. But I know couples that are still to this day. Their kids like 10. Okay, still like you pay for this and I pay for that, and that's the fucking deal. Okay, and
I feel
I
like-
get it because it's almost like they're trying to prevent the messiness of the divorce already.
Yeah,
like at
in
least
advance. Oh my God.
at least the assets. Okay, we know who belongs to what, and then everybody owes money. So if you want to leave or if I want to leave, we just fucking go. That's it.
Somebody's
So-
mic just went insane.
Yeah, someone's mic. I don't know whose mic was, but it went like all insane there. But anyone else? Aaron, do you have anything to add?
It's weird with the kids, right? How do you keep those expenses in line? Whatever.
Okay.
Well, I don't think for me in my case.
Oh,
like,
Aaron, it's your mic. It's your mic. Something's up with your. Oh man, you're lagging out really hard. Aaron, maybe try disconnecting and then reconnecting. Like go back to the leave this and then go to radio. Yeah, okay. And I'll pull him back in. Nukalani, thank you for stopping by. So Aaron, try it again.
Is that any better?
Oh yeah, that's a lot better.
Much better.
Much
Holy
better.
crap, much better.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if it's my internet or what,
Yeah.
but like my Discord will just go insane every once in a while.
Okay.
I feel that.
But go ahead.
worries.
Give us what
Oh
you
yeah, I was say I know in my case like I it's so ingrained in my head because I was raised on the whole like traditional like the man needs to pay for everything, so that in my head it's always just been ingrained that way. But like for me now it's like I don't care, like you pay for this, I'll pay for that. It's so like to me it's just whatever at this point. So it's like
To us, it's
yeah,
like
to me
what,
to me
which
it's more
card
alien
do
the
we
whole
use?
like
Which card do we use? Because we
Yeah,
both have
like-
access to all of them.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
a
for
very.
me. Oh, sorry, my bad.
I was gonna say I have the cringiest solution to this, and that's when you both go out and you both have dinner, and then both of you strategically try and wait for the other person to go to the bathroom so you can pay while they're gone, so that they can't. And if neither of you, again, if neither of them do, you both fight at the card reader.
I've done that to her,
Like, yo.
her dad before.
But no, okay, so that's the cringy way of doing it. But what I find like a healthy way is let's say,
No, wait, no,
I do
hold
wanna-
on. Wait, while she goes to the washroom, okay, and you pay. Actually, that's the most convenient one because then she goes to the washroom, okay, and she comes back. She's like, okay, are we gonna wait for the check? And you're like, no, I got it already, right? We can just go and have fun now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe that is the right
And-
time.
and if you build up that, if that sort of thing becomes a regular, both of you will attempt to fight, and it's no longer a case of okay, I paid, so you pay. It's like, no, you paid last time, I got it this time.
So I have
So
a
rather than
question.
making the other person do it, you kind of rather than competing against each other for the other person getting to pay, you compete for each other for who gets to pay.
That's
it
so
kind of- it takes-
complicated.
I mean, that's
or like
So-
like
so
there's
I have a
there's
quick
like Venmo
question.
now, so like you could split it after the fact.
Oh my god, so much brain work.
yeah, it is. Nukalani.
I feel like you guys are so focused on money, you're forgetting a lot of the labor that happens in a relationship. I was in a long-term relationship and I
I was
worked
just about to say.
part-time and I took care of the house. I did the dishes, I did the cooking, like I went to culinary school at night and I did everything in the house, and my ex went to school and she worked as a paralegal. and like she made more than me, so she paid a little more in the bills. But like I did everything. I packed lunches, I made breakfast, like I cleaned up, I tidied up. Like there's hours I spent in the day that I didn't get to do other things. That maybe I didn't have enough money to pay for that order out of takeout on the weekend that she did.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if if you're in that type of relationship, if you should expect something like that, like if you should expect the other person to carry their weight at home, or if you shouldn't expect anything, or they should just do it.
Yeah, I mean, keep the sink clean, wash your dish after eating it, I don't have the experience of living with a partner yet. But I just imagine that will be the case. But like for me, like with my ex, I mean, we're still homies. I still like her, but like, I reflect on the old days. And like it was pretty chill, right? Like when it came to like money things. Uh I think chivalry isn't like completely cringe, but it's like a little overrated. I'm not gonna lie. Like, look, I have OCD, probably something like that. I'm super germophobic, so I don't want to hold the door for you. And if you're in front of me, please hold the door for me. Like I don't like if you're a man, if you're a woman, please. I don't want to touch the door. But overall, I still when it comes to money, I mean, share. Right? Like the way I see when you're with like when you're with somebody, it's
you need
less
to trust someone. You need to trust someone.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes,
you have.
Yes.
Sometimes people have trust issues, and sometimes people aren't trustworthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely
depends
fair.
on
It's true too. And some people have been burned, and so it takes them a long time to really warm up to anybody new, and it's not even your fault.
And it depends on like your how long you've been in the relationship too, I feel like, because at the beginning it's kind of weird. You're not just like, oh, I want to pay for everything, or oh, like you should pay for everything. So you kind of, it makes it easier to just keep it split at the beginning, I feel like.
I feel like
at the beginning,
Oh yeah. Like back, when I was in a relationship, I feel like we weren't living together, we didn't have bills or nothing, but like we would just be like at the mall, and I'd realize like, oh, I don't got enough to pay for McDonald's. Can I borrow $1? And she wouldn't mind. Just collaboration. That's the way it has to be.
My wife and I just wanted to have fun, and whoever had money for it paid for it.
Exactly. That's the way. That's the way.
Okay. A nice parallel to this is if any of you smoke, you'll know the whole, gosh, shit, I left my cigarettes at home. But did you have a cigarette? And like, for most times, people around will be like, yeah, sure, here's one. And like, you will be like, oh, thanks, here, I'll get you back at some point. And there's never, okay, a healthy way of going, like, in a healthy scenario, there's no expectation that you will pay me back for that cigarette. But there is also a point where, like, if you keep asking someone for, hey, do you have a cigarette, Jay? Do you have a cigarette, Jay? Do you have a cigarette? They'll eventually be like, dude, what are you doing? Stop. No, get your own. Like,
you don't just say, okay, just take them out of my pocket.
Yeah, do you want me to smoke the damn thing as well?
I don't smoke or anything, but I feel like I experience stuff like that more in like random stranger like interactions than like actual relationship stuff.
Yeah, because like when it comes to money, like, yeah, I make a small bit of money, and like I don't typically be like, okay, all of this money is mine. I have planned it all out. I tend to have a bit of it where I'm just like, this is a bit of money I have for those random scenarios where, like, hey, if someone needs an extra bit, if I don't know, let's say, like, during quarantine, like, hey,
you have giveaway money?
Yeah, I was about to say.
You have giveaway money? Carry giveaway money around with you?
No, I don't just like keep it around with me, but like all of the money in my bank account, I don't assume that I'm like that all of that money is going to be spent on me. Some of it will be like either donated to charity, or like if I'm with a friend and if I'm like with friends in like the city and one of them is like, oh shit, I don't have bus money home. I'm like, here, yeah, no worries, I'll take a $5 out of an ATM. Here, get like fucking just get a cab home. Like, don't take the bus.
Yeah.
And like treating like being in a relationship like kind of a similar way, like this isn't money I'm expecting to get back. this is just money that I
Right.
like. This is a small amount that I have, not a huge amount, just a small amount that I'm willing to just give to people I care about in times where they might need it. And like, I'm obviously not going to expect the same, but it's something I like to try and promote, of just like, people being, obviously because money is scarce, especially amongst the working class, it's difficult to do, but it does help for avoiding those kind of scenarios. So a lot of scenarios that can come up when it comes to money in a relationship.
What weird scenarios I do get into though a lot with my girlfriend is her parents a lot of the time will invite us to dinner like all the time, and they pay for it every time, and like I kind of feel awkward about it because I don't know if like one time I should intervene and be like, no, I'll pay for it, or if like they just expect to pay for it every time since they make like way more money than we do. That's like the type of weird scenarios I get into with money.
So like this is my thing, right? This is my thing. Yeah, if there's an opportunity to save some money, then take that opportunity. If your parent, if your girlfriend's parents are willing to do it, then yeah. Like back in when I was in, you see, I'm not. I don't do enough chivalry. Perhaps maybe I do too little. Maybe I gotta do more. But like my ex is dating someone else, right? He's a nice guy. He's the type of person that's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna pay for the bill. All right, that's just how he was raised. But I'm just like, I'm like the type that's like, well, I'll pay half. You pay it. You
Always
pay
pay for
this
the
other
bill.
half.
My God.
Well,
Wow.
I don't have money. I'm not rich. I'm a student. But
all
I mean,
right,
like,
I
yeah.
always try to pay the bills. Sometimes if they want to pay some initially, I'll be like, all right, you can tip, and I'll take care of the bill or whatever. But it's like
Yeah,
it's really hard for me. I guess it's probably because I'm Gen X or whatever. But it's hard for me to like, if I'm gonna go out with somebody, I have to know that I have enough to pay for the whole thing.
Even if
True,
like
true.
someone's inviting you that you're not in like a relationship with. Like
Oh no,
if
that's
some a
completely
friend,
different. If it's just a couple friends going out, yeah, we'll split the tab up. But I generally try to pay for it if I can then too. But I can't always. Yeah, absolutely, we'll split it up.
Like when I'm older, when I'm making bank, when I'm rich, I will be eventually.
Woohoo!
I'll pay for.
Get it.
I'll be generous. I'll be hanging out with friends. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna pay for your guys' stuff. I'm gonna pay for every single person at the table.
Well, why don't you get there and you tell me how much you'll pay for everyone's shit? Yeah.
Done that
It's
and ended
tough.
up paying nearly $200 for a tab at a place that shouldn't
Same.
have cost that much at all. And I'm like, well,
same.
there it is. There it is.
There was a I've told this story before on stream. I've had mostly pretty terrible experiences doing online dating. One of those, one of those was this woman who I'd met. She so I met her on Tinder, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we'll go out." And it's like, "Oh, I'll take you out to dinner." Sure, great. All right. Well, I picked a restaurant. I don't know. So I asked her like, "What type of food do you want?" Right. And she tells me she like wants seafood. Okay, I started looking for places that do seafood, and she's like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Here's a few. Right, here's a few restaurants that might work. All of them are like the top on the top 10 most expensive
Dude.
seafood restaurants in
The
the
same
fucking
exact
city.
thing
Gosh,
happened to
dude.
me.
And then
The same thing.
this gets worse. This gets worse. It starts escalating, right? And I'm like, no, no, it's not happening. And like I was like, okay, maybe we eventually agree on like the Cheesecake Factory, but like the Cheesecake Factory that's like not, because like I'm close to like the border of a state, right? So it's in her state, so I have to cross the state line to get to her, to get to the state, right? And so I drive over there, right? I'm in the parking lot, ready to go, and date time comes up, doesn't show. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Oh, let's cancel. Let's do some other time. I'm like, well, you know what? Fuck you. Never, right? And I end up doing something else and having a lot more fun. But this, it's actually very interesting because I had read this article about women, right, who use Tinder, right, like use online dating, like to eat. Like
Dude.
women who are like,
Yes, it's happened to me a while ago, and it was the same exact situation as you, except for I actually played the sucker in that role because I did take her out to like dinner and a bunch of stuff, and I was a tattoo artist at the time, so I did a bunch of like free tattoos and whatnot, and it was like the exact same scenario, and then she was just like, "All right, my guy, see you later. Thanks for the tats, bro.
Yeah.
See you on the other side."
Okay.
Ouch.
Yeah, so this
Sorry.
no. Like this article was telling me about like how some women are just like in difficult financial situations, and so yeah, they'll just like line up a whole bunch of dates. Like they was talking about like some college women, right? Who between semesters, right, when you didn't have access to the lunch, like the the school cafeteria or whatever, right? It would just line up a whole series of dates.
That's
with
a great
men.
diet plan if you think about it.
Oh boy,
That's
Right?
crazy.
The only
Actually, I
time
never
you
heard
eat-
of that.
The only time you eat, okay, is when you can get a nice dinner at a nice restaurant by doing.
I feel
whatever you
like
do.
they would get more meals if they were just like, "Bro, I'm hungry. You want to take me out to eat?" I feel like half the desperate dudes on Tinder would be
no,
like,
no, I mean
"Yeah."
that's what they did. That's what I'm saying. That's what they did.
Oh, they actually said that they were gonna go out to eat. They didn't just like trick them into doing it.
Oh no, I mean I think they were just pretending it was the normal data. I mean I don't know. I mean
Nuke's wanting to talk.
Nuke
You know
Laney-
what?
Nuke
You
Laney-
know what? If you wanna
Yeah.
give someone some entertainment while they have their lunch one time, maybe it's worth it. You know?
I know it is funny to think about those situations as kind of a joke, but a lot of this is people who are hard out for money. I know a couple years ago when I first got out of my long-term relationship, I was a little promiscuous, and I wound up hooking up with a girl who was 20 years old, and she had wound up getting kicked out of her house, and she was using hookup apps to secure living situations. And I wound up helping her get help from state services and get her out of that situation. But I wondered how many more people are out there like her who wind up in these hardship situations, and now dating apps and hookup culture and using their bodies almost as a meal ticket is their way of escaping homelessness. And how do we address that?
I think that's a form
Is
of
it really
sex
using
work.
their body though?
I mean even if you don't have sex with the person, right?
It's work.
I
It's
think-
work.
I think it would be considered sex work. Like
It's a grind.
yeah.
Gotta respect
I
it. Yeah, partly.
I mean,
No,
that would be like saying a normal job is sex work. They're not really, if they're not really like having sex or anything.
no,
If they're just
we've already,
tricking
you
you
out.
into
man, we've already
getting
talked
them.
about this. No, we've already
I
talked
don't
about
see
this.
how having dinner with dudes is sex work. I mean, unless you have sex with them.
No, you don't have to. Oh my god,
That's
we're gonna
No,
have
that's
to have
sex,
this.
right? Okay.
Right.
We're gonna have to.
Kinda-
We're gonna have a whole conversation about this again, aren't we?
Just a whole
no,
conversation.
you don't
Imagine
have
you're
to
a
have.
great conversationalist
You don't have
and
to
you're
have.
applying your trade.
You don't have to have sex with a person to be involved in sex work, right? Like if you go into a situation using your body, right, to get something that you need, right? Like through like sexual attraction and getting something, whether it's money or whether it's food or whether it's rent, right, or whatever it is, that is sex work. You don't have to have sex with a person.
I agree with you.
It'd be,
However, what if it was just a profile picture of their just face, like,
What difference does that
and
make?
that was it? If it was, that still counts.
Yeah, like when you there's
Are you engaging in
there's-
sex work right now?
No, I'm not, because I'm not using. That's not. I'd tell you if I am, but this
For
is.
some people.
Oh my god! Oh,
No, but I mean,
no, but,
but
no,
having,
it's important.
having dinner with someone
Oh my
that
God.
you might have a sexual attraction to. Maybe people have sexual attraction to you, and you're entertaining them right now. So
No,
therefore, you're
intention matters.
engaging in sex
Hold
work.
on, you didn't listen to me. intention matters. Intention matters. Like I said, if you intend to do that, because if you're simply attractive and living your life out in the world, people happen to lust over you, and that's their business, and that's not your business, right? But there was
tickling their sexual appetites to get something they want.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop this because I feel like he doesn't want to go down this speech tree, but I feel like we acknowledge that their intent wasn't to have sex; it was to get food and money.
No, not sex. You don't have to intend to have sex. The intention is to use your body, right?
The men are attracted
use your sexual
to the girl.
attraction. Yeah.
They're showing up to the date with the intention of pursuing a relationship with the girl, and the girl's there to eat because she doesn't have another resource to provide for herself. She's engaging in an act of using her body to secure her meal. That is sex work.
Yeah, much in the same way that okay, so a parallel to this that isn't sex work, just to try and like help marry the two, is if I go to free conferences because they offer coffee and I go just to take the coffee, I'm not going to a cafe to get coffee. I'm still going to conferences, and they're still a conference, they're not a cafe. Much in the same way that even if sex isn't like part of the actual what both parties get and out of the end of it, that's still implicitly part of the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not like my mind isn't dead set on this, so I'm willing to like change my mind on it. It just seems like a far out there idea to me, from like not having like researched this or like looked into this in any way. But just the thought that the guy's intent to have sex with someone who's not intending to have sex with them and just scamming them for food could have any profile picture, could literally just have like a fucking meme as their profile picture, that still counts as sex work, is like fucking mind-blowing to me.
Okay, so let me try to paint this for you. One, there is remember, I'm not sure if they still do these, right? But remember in late night TV, you'd have those like 1-900 numbers you could call, right?
Okay,
and talk to hot, sexy singles in your area, right, or whatever.
Okay.
And first of all, one, you may not have ever seen their face, but an updated version of this is to get a profile picture, right? And you can call them, and they're like, what are you wearing, or whatever, right? You can get some sort of sexual titillation out of this, right? First of all, they never touch you at all, but it's still sex work. But beyond that, just because that profile pic alone, right? Like you're saying, like, well, it could be a random meme profile pic, as long as it sexually titillates you, right? As long as their voice gets you off. That's sex work. You don't actually have to touch anyone to be engaging in sex work.
Okay. All right. One last question.
There's no hot singles.
Please. Okay. So what if
hot singles in my area?
What if I invite a woman to have dinner with me because I met her off something, right? All right. And her intent, okay, is to go titillate me sexually, so I pay for dinner, right? But my intent is to have a conversation with a stranger because I'm entertained by things like this, and I don't mind paying for dinner. Sure. Is it then sex work?
So I want to understand the situation. You're saying that you just decide to go out on a date and like her, like, I'm a little confused. So like
I decided to go to a place to eat a nice dinner, okay, and converse with a stranger. They might be a shithead, at which point that'll be it. I'll pay for dinner. It's an experiment. I love doing these things because I have the money to do it, right? And that's it. And that's it. And I don't mind. No sex has to be involved. I just want to get to know a person. That's literally why I come on Twitch, to fucking get to know new people, strangers.
Well, sex has to be involved with me. That's why I come on Twitch. Like, we'll go to Nukulani, and then we'll go to Ninetales, and then Nathan.
That is sex work. People do seek out sex workers for companionship. You're having an emotional need fulfilled through that person selling their time and their body and their emotional interaction with you.
Emotions too.
But there are sex workers who do the sex. Well, the sex call lines and escorts, and a lot of these sex workers do have clients who want what you're saying. They are people who they just spend time with and talk to, and they may not be there for the sex. They're just selling their time and interaction to fulfill a need the person's providing.
Mhm.
That is
Are
a service that
But
are
what
psychologists
sexual
sex
but what
workers?
sexual interaction is happening in that scenario that you just brought
Yeah.
up? What sexual
I was
interaction?
gonna address this, so if I could go next.
Go ahead, please.
yeah, I'd like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this binary thing. What we're actually talking about is known as interpersonal work. And what we're doing is we're going down the sliding spectrum where the more you do to cater to someone's emotional needs and the more that you do to cater to their physical needs, the closer we get to absolute sex work. This argument in the gray zone of whether or not it's sex work isn't going to help anybody because it doesn't change anything. The real question is like, at what point does this become nasty? And I don't think it does. I think we're social creatures, and if women are getting meals from guys who expect something else because that's the only way to get food, then that's them being a social creature. And I don't see like what the moral implication of that, other than like, guys know that like that this date might not turn into anything. That's an accepted thing of society. So there is no obligation on the woman's part to actually be doing it for any other reason.
Well, I feel like the argument here is more like on the definition of sex work.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's the thing is like you get closer to sex work as your interpersonal works becomes about both fulfilling psychological and physical needs. So like just trying to set a stake in the ground is arbitrary and mindless.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is.
I mean, I feel like
No,
we
it's
were
true.
just
It's transactional things that humans do all the time. We do it for different reasons on different scales.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's just work. It's just work.
I'm not going to delineate like definitely delineate what like a psychologist does, but like as far as like can we call this person a sex worker? I'd say it's yes and no. Like it's not like the best example of sex work, but it's definitely not like it's the same vein of interpersonal work that sex work is.
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, I think there is value in like expanding the definition of what sex work is, right? So that people don't think, well, it is just others having sex. Just understanding this is something that is done on a daily basis that people do oftentimes to survive, right? Like a person, like using, like to making sure they have a place to stay, right? Like people do these things all the time, and to like destigmatize it, I think it's worth it not to say like, well, only escorts do this, right? Like those like women of like ill like low moral report or something like that. But it's just people do this, and men and women and non-binary as well engage in this. So I think there is actually value in showing that there's a large scale here, right? And people fall in different places. Now, are they a sex worker? Well, I think that's a different thing, right? Like maybe those might have harder categories, but to get engaged in sex work, like for instance, like you don't have to be like a plumber, right, to do plumbing, right? But like a plumber like focuses on that for their to eat, right? So that but a person can engage in some sort of sex work within their lifetime and still not be a sex worker, I guess. I don't know, but I think
Yeah, I think it would just be weird to like. I think it's more in line when we look at the intention of the person. It's a little bit out there when we say like every instance of a woman having a date with a guy, um, like I don't like the line of like, oh, they're doing it just to eat. I think that's a little bit arbitrary. I would prefer it be like, um, well, okay, so it's not like that's never going to be the case. I'll put it this way. But at the same time, I don't think that that's the qualifier. I think that it just happens to be very interpersonal work where the transaction looks the same. I'm very hesitant at like calling it sex work though, as like a categorical thing, or like calling them a sex worker. Someone might be doing it under the same like, what would you call, like not profession, but um like habitual need as like a sex worker. But I wouldn't say that like the interpersonal element of like in like the physical part qualifies, because like when we look at like phone sex and stuff like that, I think that like there's often an expectation that you're going to satisfy verbally their physical needs, if that makes sense. And so it's not always as straightforward as saying like, um, oh well, you can do it over the phone, so it doesn't involve sex. I think that there is a level of what we would normally call intimacy that needs to be involved before we might call it sex work. Now, again, I'm not like I'm not interested in like delineating this from that. I think it is a sliding scale, and this is interpersonal work. But the best qualifier would be like, can you apply this to all instances of that person doing that? Would this always be sex work, or could there be like other things? It is a very like it's something that like will have to be arbitrary. As far as like expanding the definition goes, though, it can go both ways. Like, uh, we could like lose like the value of the definition itself at the same time as we're like allowing people to talk about it more openly.
So I disagree. I don't think there has to be any intimacy, a level of intimacy involved for it to be called sex work. I think there's lots of sex work that people doing solo acts, for instance, and there's like no level of intimacy, but they transmit these acts, and hey, there's that. But but beyond that, right? Like I think all that matters. Oh, thank you, Montreal Player, for being so kind.
Okay, I
and
just
Thank
just
you.
used intimacy
Sure.
wrong.
Okay.
I meant like I meant like oh, sorry.
Have a good one.
I'm
sorry.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute my.
Oh, okay,
So-
sure. All right. Sorry.
So you would qualify somebody using their voice, face, or like anything like that to get something out of somebody's sex work.
If they're using it to, if they're using their, if they're using it to titillate someone, right? To cause a sexual arousal, some sort of sexual arousal, right? And for that, then to get them something of value, right? So like the intention of causing sexual arousal for the purposes of getting some sort of remuneration.
Okay, I got a question with that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
I have 3 TikTok accounts. One of them is a VTuber account, and it is okay. I'm gonna just be straight up. It's thirst traps. It's anime thirst traps with my VTuber model. Okay, but it gets motherfuckers. I'm sorry, no disrespect to my home to,
No,
my,
that's
to my
fine.
fans.
Yeah.
It gets people to join my Discord, and then that lets me tell them when I'm streaming, right? But I am making these people somewhat aroused, frankly, for them to even leave a like and follow on that account. So, do I get to put sex worker on my resume? Like
I'm not sure. Oh, I mean, you can put whatever you want on your resume. But what I would say to that, what's that? You want to respond?
Oh, at this point, we get to an area where, okay, any sort of industry can be kind of like, I don't know if diluted is the correct term, but you can do this thing to like pretty much any category of work, to kind of like, it's, I think, reduce it, I think is a better term, down to like anything could count as it, much in the same way that, like, you could do it with tech, with like any, like, tech professionals, programmers, software engineers, web designers, any of those. Like, obviously we understand, like, we have like those different terms, but they all kind of fall under tech work. Nobody uses the term tech work, because we have those other things. Whereas when it comes to sex work, a lot of the time it doesn't get subcategorized because in a lot of places in the world, it's kind of illegal to call it that, or it's stigmatized heavily. So, I mean, I could argue that every single one of us are tech workers. Well, anyone who operates, well, you with the TikTok accounts and the Discord and the stream, yeah, definitely, you use tech. That's the thing you do. That's the labor you do. You're a tech worker. But like, would I say you're a programmer? No. Would I say you're a web designer? No. Would I say you're a software engineer? No. it's kind of like we've reduced it down a bit, and then we're trying to apply the reduced version to other things, and that therein lies the problem with this line of questioning of like, you think of all of these things and like, is this sex work? And like, well, kind of, yeah, but like,
So I
what most
disagree.
people think of sex work.
I disagree completely with what you're saying, 100%. One, and Nucleini, I see. We'll go to you next. First of all, let me answer Nathan with a question, right? Like, for hentai, right? The animators who animate hentai, right? Are they engaging in a form of sex work? If you're just,
I would say so.
okay,
I would also
Yeah, I
say
would
yes.
imagine.
Oh, okay, so we can get that. So, our friend Nathan has an avatar, right? A sexy avatar that he's literally animating, right, to move about, and apparently, till like what was he saying to like these people, that would that also not be sex work?
But
I
That's
can
a
consider
clarifying question.
myself.
but my
Yeah.
original argument was that if neither of their intents are to have sex, it shouldn't be. It's not.
Yeah, I
really
know,
sex
I know,
work.
but I'm saying that that's not the case. That's like not the case at all. Like, I think I've done a good job of laying that out.
I forgot.
Go ahead.
I forgot who said this,
Well,
but
like maybe
I-
just like how what was it? What was her name? Who was just on had said the term interpersonal work as like kind of a more like broad and out definition. Like maybe something like that.
I don't
work.
think that's. But I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think about that more. I have to think about if that
Because
actually
it
makes
feels
sense.
like that's kind of where we're at. Is just kind of like seeing just like what definition fits where and like how specific out do we want to make certain definitions or more broad.
I would say.
Well, no, I think coming to a definition. I think there is a reductionist argument to be made about your body use and labor and everything being exploitative. You know, labor jobs and physical labor and everything, you're exploited for your body. That is a reductionist argument that's made about all work in general. But here specifically, I saw people in chat talking about what exactly qualifies, like, is certain uniforms, are they sex work now? No, you can have a job that's sexually exploitative without it being sex work. Like a Hooters uniform is designed to be exploitative of female sexuality, but it's not necessarily sex work. But you go into the idea of someone specifically targeting clients on a dating app that they are seeking out to exploit their physical or emotional attractiveness by having a conversation with that target leading into a date because they want to profit from that interaction. That I think qualifies as a level of sexual work in the activity of selling yourself to gain profit. Maybe it's a lower level of sex work. Maybe it's not an extreme act of sex work. Maybe it's not a lifestyle of sex work. Maybe you're not a sex worker if you're doing that because it's just something you're doing to cover a couple of meals. But I think that the intent there is to sell your sexuality to someone for gain.
Yeah.
So if we have a scenario where someone is, like you said, selling their sexuality to gain food, and the other person doesn't know that that's the reason that that's happening, would you say that that's a negative thing?
It's a non-consensual act of sex work, yes, but that's happens all that's the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I forgot who was the one that said this. I think maybe Vaush, but he considers stuff like, let's say, you're an Instagram account and you happen to post a lot of pics with sexual nature. He considers that sex work, and you know what? It makes sense. I mean, what do you really expect when you're posting those pictures?
Yeah,
Well, you
that was
expect to
something I was,
gain. Yeah.
yeah, that was something I was going to get into, and then I realized like I am a bit bad at constructing arguments. I kind of go a bit too long and I go badly. But Prime did call me up on something that I realized I phrased badly. In that, when we consider types of work, obviously there's different types. Like someone who I don't know, draws the hentai. Someone who is works in the porn film industry. Both of them are one, like content creators for their respective industries. One is like porn star for porn industry. One is like a artist for the general art community or some category of such. But both of them kind of converge on the intent of the what they're making, and both converge on the intent to be sexually explicit. Because sex work as a term gets it can get really broad. It gets at that point it gets difficult to pin down what isn't sex work based on external factors. If the customer isn't actually attempting to buy, if the customer isn't buying because they're not interested in sex, they're still a customer. If you buy a product for something that is not if you buy a product and you're going to use it for something that's not the intended use of that product, you've still bought the product, you've still engaged in that, you've still purchased the labor of someone else. Like, what they've done and their labor doesn't change just because you are engaging in it for different reasons or for reasons that weren't intended. It's still the thing. Like, if you're if you're going on dating websites and it's just to make food, but the whole point is to if you, a woman, are getting guys to buy you dinner and you're playing up the whole it's a date thing, that does kind of engage in very similar areas of what could be considered sex work in other circumstances, and that's kind of where I see Prime's argument. So that's where I'm on the same side. It at a certain degree, the customer actually doesn't matter. The customer's intentions don't matter.
I feel like the more broad this gets, the more vague the term the sex worker gets, and I feel like it also devalues the term. Nathan was saying that a girl posting booty pics on Instagram would be considered a sex worker, but I think if you asked that girl, she wouldn't consider herself a sex worker. Not only that, if she was posting pictures to Instagram and it was sexually explicit pictures, let's say, and she had 0 followers, would she still be considered a sex worker?
Hold on.
Nobody was looking at the pictures.
Oh, okay. So if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Yeah. What difference does that make?
If I make
is
a
she
game and no
still
one buys it,
attempting to
am I still a game
monetize
dev?
it?
Yeah. The point is why is it happening? Okay. Consider 2 women, right? 2 women. One is well, they're both young women, right? Both young women. One likes to share photos of herself, right? And this is just a fun thing that she does. She just loves expressing herself, being her own skill, celebrating maybe a body that she's worked hard for in terms of exercising or whatever, right? And takes pictures and shares that with the world. The other one takes pictures of the exact same poses, right? But is looking to monetize the product, right? Monetize these pictures. Whole thing that people would, I don't know, click on her profile and then maybe click on her link tree and end up at some sexual site, right? Or somehow in some way make money off of it. They're both posting the same things, right? And they're both could cause.
I agree with where you're going with this.
Okay, great.
But I was just going based off of what was said before, because before it was just a girl posting things on Instagram, and you guys were yeah, that's sex work, with nothing mentioned about monetization or selling her links.
So okay, but he mentioned the point is Nukulani and I are in agreement here, right? It's about your intentions to monetize. That's very important. A person being attractive in the world is not sex work, in no way sex work. Right, and whether they are a sex worker, I think that's a slightly different conversation, right? If you're putting them in the profession, that's a different. I think it's a slightly different conversation. But in any case, engaging in acts of sex work, right? You can engage in acts of plumbing and not be a plumber. But in any case, right? It matters their actual intention. So yeah, I think those two things are very different. And I don't think the definition is broadened. If you stick with that definition specifically, it doesn't need to broaden. It is what it is, right? Like the intentions matter.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I can definitely understand it from like that. From that lens, no, I can totally understand it. Part of the, at least part of my own kind of like confusion can come about in that, like the term, like the term sex work, at least, I know it probably has like a better understanding in like most other circles, but like what the term was before it became commonly known as sex work was like listed as a crime, and so we moved away from that term and tried to broaden it out, to avoid almost like whether it's to avoid the stigma of being a crime or to avoid endangering anyone engaging in that work, to like to that specific area of work from to avoid exposing them to the police. Like therein can sometimes lie some confusions. Like with that lens of it, yeah, that makes sense. It's more just using sex work as the term. It feels like it's like it feels like it adds the potential for other categories of what could categories to be kind of like feel implicitly included as well, that we don't tend to see in other areas. Like that's more just my where my
We see
my
it
own
in other
confusion or my
areas
own
to negative
misunderstanding.
effect.
Actually, real quick, can you give an example just so I can fully be on
Drugs.
board with this? Because I do. Sorry.
When you look at scaling for drug classification, you see a lot of issues
God,
coming
yes.
up with that. I think when you try and
Yes.
scale sex work out, you're going to create a lot of issues with classification. I think you have to have a broad definition and work into specification when you look at certain instances.
Yeah, and that's kind of like more what I try and do with someone who sells their body to clients, someone who produces softcore pornography, and someone who draws I know hentai. I don't know what the Western term for it, if there is a Western term for it, or if everyone just uses hentai. But like those three things all have similar end goals, but they're very different fields of
So-
labor.
Is there any
And-
scenario where someone on a dating app would talk to someone to try to get food and it not be considered sex work?
If it was
No,
done,
I don't think it. I think. Well, if they're on a dating app, their intention is to get food, but they're using themselves to get to that end goal. I think it still fits the description that we've set up as sex work.
I think it might just be a little bit exploitative because the person on the other end doesn't know they're participating in the act. But that's why I'm saying it's sort of like in this area where if we try and isolate each individual instance out, then we have to start looking at the necessity of the action, and I think that's a very dangerous line to cross.
Like I'm just looking at like the
Mm.
descriptions of the words, right?
I-
Because
I'll answer your question. I think
Alright.
if someone literally just asked, like, okay, you're on a dating app, and like, hey, I'm hungry. Like, I don't have enough to make ends meet. Could someone help me? Yeah, I can't really offer you anything, but if you could just be so kind as to help me out, I don't think that would be sex work.
because I'm just looking at it in the most like basic sense, right? Sex work. So like you can work at McDonald's, right? Flipping burgers, and you work there. You're employee there. You're a worker. But if you just go into a McDonald's and go into the back of the kitchen and just start flipping burgers, I wouldn't consider you a worker. You're just you're just doing something you're not supposed to be doing. Like these people are like essentially tricking these people into getting food. I wouldn't consider that like a worker. They're just like essentially
I didn't
like
say they were a worker.
scamming
Again,
people.
we focus on. I think, and I think part of the problem is like being afraid to expand this definition because the idea of sex work is so taboo, right? It's like, okay, this is some special thing. Again, I tried to relate this before. This is a special category that only a special category of person does, right? And surely not all these other people, right? We surely don't engage in this, right? When you do these things that all equal the same outcome, right? Someone through their sexual arousal, providing you with some sort of remuneration. But of course, I am not engaging in sex work. No, again, I'm not one of those people, right? Like, and you may have positive thoughts of those people, or negative thoughts, but whatever it is, they're a separate category, and surely the rest of us never, will go through our entire lives without ever engaging in something similar. I think there is very much value in broadening this definition and not making some sort of special, some sort of special closed off category that type of person that I can see that person right there. They're the ones who do that, right? Like it'll help destigmatize the term, but it's very important. Not everything is sex work. Right? Not everything is sex work. There are plenty of ways people interact and use their bodies, right? In non-sex work action. For instance, a runner, an athlete, right? You see athletes, women athletes, right? Who wear like outfits that show off a lot of skin, right? Are they using their bodies for? Is that an act of sex work when they're running around the field, right? And guys are getting off or whatever? No, they're just existing. They're doing their thing, right? And they might be getting compensated for that, for those actions, but those actions are completely separate from whatever else anyone else is thinking, because that's not their intention. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty simple, but maybe it's more complicated. Nathan, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, in the athlete's case, a lot of the times it's not really their choice. Like if you're like a female boxer, like you have the outfit they expect you to wear, you know? And I believe, if I recall correctly, it's mainly like pretty much the boxing shorts and a bra. So like, you don't have much choices there. There's not much variety you get. So you just have, if you want to be a boxer and you happen to be a girl, then your choices are limited. But yeah, that's definitely not sex work in my view, because it's just what they're required to do their actual work, But yeah. Yeah.
I do feel like sex work has become a lot less like taboo in the last couple of years.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Especially since like half the earth is on OnlyFans right now.
It seems like it. It seems like it. Actually, quite a few people who appear on this platform definitely engage in that. But which is fine. I'm trying to think of a topic that involves that. What are your feelings? Because this came up previously when we were talking about the hot tub streamers, and we don't have to go down that way. I was talking to someone separately. It was an offline conversation, but I heard like and I haven't seen this myself, but that Vaush made an argument that people performing on hot tub streams is problematic because of the way it makes young men view women, right? I disagree with that statement, but I
gotta disagree with that.
I disagree with that too.
Yeah, I would also disagree with that.
If that's the argument he made.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so yeah.
But okay, so if we all disagree there, but what about sex work in general encroaching on this space, right? So a lot of those hot tub streamers just do hot tub streaming and nothing else, right? But there are other women on this platform, and I guess I imagine men too, I don't know, but at least there are women on this platform who do link to explicit content that they provide, right? And this encroachment of sex work into a space that is like gaming, and well, supposedly gaming focused, and closer to children, right? Is that a problem? Like,
you want to know where it gets more morally questionable when the same stuff is done on TikTok, essentially.
Mhm.
We know TikTok has the reputation for being the kids app, but there are a lot of creators that will do more sexually explicit videos and then they link their OnlyFans. Now, frankly, I don't I'm fine with it. In my view, we have parents for a reason. Kids have their parents. The parents, uh, if they don't want their kids going on OnlyFans, make sure your kid's not going on OnlyFans. But one of the benefits about OnlyFans is that you have to pay. So hopefully that stops a lot of kids from going on there. But yeah, actually, this has been a thing in my mind
So
on TikTok. I think they're really strict with certain things like sexual explicitity at times, even though they're not on other case. They're very weird, their moderation, right? But like, I don't look. I think about YouTube, right? Now I grew up on YouTube. I say I grew up fine, right? But like, I don't think people need to police their content for the little kids that happen to use the platform. You know what I mean? So
So
like if you want to post like sexually explicit stuff that's not like straight up porn, but just, suggestive things on TikTok, I think you have the right to do that.
So my position on this isn't fully refined because I haven't been on Twitch a long time and I also don't care about like hot tub streams. But I feel like Twitch is very strict. Like if there's a fucking little nip slip or something, that person will get banned immediately. So it's not like you're seeing anything different than if you're taking your kids to the
Oh wait,
beach and you're
I'm
seeing
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Real quick. I just noticed Vaush is in the chat. Hi, I love you. I love your stuff. Big fan. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Same
Vaush.
though.
We were just talking. I'm not sure how much of you caught of that, but you apparently made some point about hot tub streamers, Vaush, and it was related to me, so I hadn't actually heard it. So I hope I'm not like miscategorizing you. But from what I understood, your point was that hot tub streamers are damaging to young kids because what it teaches them about women's bodies, like the women will write the name of people who donate to them, like on their bodies, and somehow this is damaging. Again, I hadn't heard your argument. I hope I'm not mischaracterizing it, but that's what helped kick this argument off. You can hop in. Okay, yeah, sure. In case you don't.
I'm sorry.
So-
I'm sorry.
Okay. It's the
No,
Discord right there. You can
So
hop in.
I'm gonna just finish this point real quick. So I feel like Twitch is very strict. Like if you see a little fucking nip slip or something, you're gonna get banned. It's not anything different than what you're seeing at like the beach, right? So if they're posting links to like explicit content, that's a little bit different. But like Nathan said, you have to pay for that kind of stuff, right? So I don't think it's a huge deal. I feel like there's more of an argument to be made on like all the hot tub streamers getting to the like front page of Twitch and kind of shoving everybody else down just on like just pure like views on all the hot tub streams. But like I said, I haven't like strictly looked into like the hot tub stream meta.
So
From what I
Well,
understand,
but, hold on, but before you finish, just so you know, for everyone else, this is an open walk-on panel. Let's make sure you open in chat, right? I invited Vaush to join us, and hopefully he will. But this is an open walk-on panel. If you're thinking, well, this is just a bunch of guys and giving their guy opinion, right? Well, then come in and give us a different perspective. We'd love to have it, right? But I can only work with the voices who are so kind to join us. So I think the guys who are so kind to jump in and have this conversation. So Nukulani, go ahead, and then we'll let Vaush defend his point. Go ahead.
yeah, from what I understand, the hot tub streamers are mostly drawing an audience to themselves. They're not really cross-seeding a lot of the other content on the platform. I think that's a problem in and of itself, and how we address that, because a lot of Twitch says it wants to create community. Is that specifically the community it's trying to create? Like, that's what I question when I look at this whole situation.
Damn.
Vaush, thank you for being so kind as to join us. And yeah, so what's your opinion on hot tub streamers in general? We're actually trying to have a larger conversation, but I want to make sure I get your thoughts on this correct. Vaush, please.
Oh yeah, just I ran out of work to do tonight. Figured I might as well hop in. I'm glad we've advanced beyond the early stage of this discourse, which felt like people just blaming women for doing this sort of thing. Because early on, that was what it was about. You know, shameless woman bearing breasts and legs on Twitch, what have you. I think the main issue, honestly, is that well, there are two big ones. First of all, this site does have a lot of young people on it, and there's not really anything distinguishing on a systemic level content which is appropriate for young people and content which is not. Now, I don't think you're going to break a kid's brain if they see a girl in a bikini on a banana or whatever. I don't think that kills them. The real issue for me is the fact that the lady is live, because people can get all sorts of really weird feelings about, you know, if they type in chat, they donate, that shows up there. I mean, if you're looking at porn on a website, or if you're on YouTube and looking at bikini babes there, it's a video. You have nothing to do with it. But if it's live, well, people form these parasocial relationships, and kids are really susceptible to that stuff. And that does worry me a little bit. There's also, like, I think somebody brought up this hypothetical. I don't recall who it was, but, you know, you can stream if you're a 16-year-old on Twitch. Would we allow 16-year-olds to do hot tub streams the way 18-year-olds are? Probably not. And you could say maybe you would enforce sexual content more strictly for younger people, but it feels like something Twitch always has to have their finger hovering over the button on, you know? It's like constantly, they always have to be watching, you know, where is the line? They don't know. They just, if something draws too much attention or goes over the line, they have to hit the button. And, you know, it seems like a tentative situation at best. If they create a not safe work section, then they're going to lose advertisers. But if they just outright take away all the sexual content, they're probably going to get a lot of fan backlash. And I don't have anything against the women who do the hot tub streams. They're just trying to make bank, and I respect that. So I don't think there's a clean out here. The idea would be creating an adult section. I think that's probably the best option that they have.
Is it sort of like how YouTube has like YouTube recently put the thing whenever you upload a video, is this video for 18 plus or for everybody? Like that
It's
sort of
for-
thing, but for Twitch?
That's in compliance with a set of regulations concerning advertisements targeted at children. But you can have your content flagged 18 or older on YouTube, where you have to be signed in to access it. YouTube does have slightly more stringent restrictions on stuff like this. I guess you can not safe for work gate Twitch channels. Does anyone even do that? When you say like market 18 and older, does anyone
I do
choose
that.
to do that?
For here?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I do that.
You can flag a stream as being intended for mature audiences, whatever the fuck that means. And
I
like,
don't know what
you know,
that means.
Would you consider?
I have my stream set as mature, but all it means is that you have to agree. Like all your, you know,
It's not much, right?
Yeah.
Would you consider a girl wearing a bikini as not safe for work, though?
Well, I mean, it's not safe for work, not safe for work. It's sexually suggestive in most contexts. If you're out at the beach, maybe less so, but even then, that's the blurry line, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that it's more sexual to wear a bikini in a hot tub in your house riding a banana than it would be to do a pool live stream, you know, in the same outfit. But there's no way in the text of the rules to really differentiate between those two situations without it coming off as incredibly arbitrary. So I feel like some sort of oversight, some separate category needs to be done there. Maybe something that would encompass all IRL streaming, possibly, because IRL streaming has a tendency to be not great for kids anyway, just the types of people who do it, you know?
Would this be would this, like, I'm wondering if this is more a manifestation of like just parasocial shit on the internet just happening, and this is like a really like notable example, like, you know, manifestation of it, or would this be like a separate instance?
I
No,
think it's the same,
you get whales. These streamers get people who dump money at them, and Twitch loves whales. Twitch wants these people to keep dumping money so they keep getting the revenue. And if they love the ad revenue too, because these female streamers get views and they love to exploit female bodies. That's what advertisers do. Somebody in chat brought it up. Like, we see it in advertising all the time. Women sell. It's why they're on billboards. It's why they're in commercials. and it's what the advertisers want at this point, I think.
Hey, I
I
mean,
think
uh,
everybody knows that that's what the advertisers want. Like the main conversation is like what exactly should be done, if anything, when it comes to the hot tub streams, like on the platform. Like
Uh,
well,
everybody knows it's for profit, and that's
so
why
hold
they
on.
kind of don't care.
I think a lot of oh,
No,
sorry.
go ahead, Vaush. The one will go to Dan. Go ahead.
I think a lot of this also has to do with unfamiliarity with technology. Like, do we have an epidemic in our society with kids falling in love with like movie stars they see on the big screen? Maybe it happens sometimes, but I feel like for the most part, adults prepare children to understand the difference between reality and fiction in those cases, for the most part. The problem is, live stream bikini babes ain't fiction. They are real. And parents don't have those conversations with their kids. I mean, can you imagine that? You know, like Billy's 11 years old. Hey, kid, listen, the e-girls, all right? They want your donations. And listen, they're not bad people, okay? But just know that that's not how you form a healthy, et cetera, et cetera. These conversations don't happen. So that natural line of defense that helps children acclimate to like odd social stuff that we didn't evolutionarily design ourselves to get around, that's not present here. Maybe in 10 years this won't be an issue at all. Maybe the birds and the bees talk will have that bit, you know, about the e-girls and the e-boys, you know, that classic bit. But until then, you know, maybe it's something we have to be more careful
Oh
about.
man, I really want
Would
to
you
explore.
put
Hold on,
the-
stop. I really want to explore this with you. But first, I'm going to let some other people go. First, let's go to Dan, and then our good friend Joe, who has just arrived, and I'm very excited. We got Dan, please.
Thank you, Prime. I do completely agree with Vaush. It really depends on the kind of ages and demographics I would specifically go with certain audiences that would, as we specifically are talking about, the babes and the women and the clothing, and that will be depending on the moral set of each parent who allows them to use their computers or at least use YouTube or Twitch, and it's to them it's always going to be about a trend, and to these companies it's a company martyr to keep their bottom line. And even as we said, it's the advertisers like love women. They don't I don't think that they only care about just women. They just care about their line. And what it matters to them is if you have controversies like through like a New York Times post talking about this, and then you'll end up having a version of YouTube apocalypse on Twitch, and which will probably be expected sometime in the future as the trend going with how YouTube has done things so far. And it's definitely an issue, but I find more people who have, I think, more dangerous to kids is like Logan or Jake Paul when they're doing content that are younger. I think that would be more worse for kids as a detriment for these kids that has no understanding, because kids are stupid. Everyone knows kids are stupid, but but they end up telling their parents, "Oh, I want to buy this new like Maverick merch. It makes me feel cool, mom." And really, to that, I think that effectively makes more of their parasocial relationship to be more bad in the long run compared to just women, because much of them are much older people and they know exactly what they're doing.
Okay, thank you. Now I wanted to introduce a very special person, my good friend Joe the Silly Sirs, who I've missed so much. Joe, hey buddy. Thanks for being around.
Hi.
Hi.
Is my mic working?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. I mean, I think there is some merit to the argument about parasocial relationships, but I think that extends beyond hot tub streamers. I mean, someone literally clapped their hands when Vaush said he was coming onto the panel. I think
me.
in terms of parents needing to have conversations about the changing nature of relationships, I think that is true across the board. In terms of giving money to someone on the internet doesn't mean that they're your friend, doesn't mean that they owe you anything. There's no entitlement there. That doesn't exist beyond exactly what you're getting from that transaction. I think when
You
we
should
add
give
in
them
this,
more money, of course.
you should of course give them more money all the time. And if a woman has her boobs out for you, then yes, you should give her money if you're enjoying that, right? And this is the thing for me. It's like hot tub streaming, yes, there is a sexual element. But if you try and draw a line to see what makes it sexual, you ultimately are going to be punishing women on this platform, because as a woman on this platform who doesn't hot tub stream, but is not look, I have big boobs, right? And I don't bring attention to them on stream at all. But depending on what I wear in a day, someone could say that I was trying to capitalize on my appearance. And so if you say, okay, no bikinis, and it's like no tight outfits, the line gets really tricky to draw. And in terms of that content, I think you're ultimately going to punish women. I have a complicated view on hot tub streamers, because I do think that there is negative impact to hot tub streaming, specifically for women on this platform. Because as a woman who doesn't hot tub stream, I sometimes feel that people view me through a different lens than they do in other domains, that I'm viewed sexually before I'm viewed as, intellectually rigorous or anything else. And that's not something I can work around, because the most popular female content creators on this platform are hot tub streamers. So I think there is an argument against hot tub streaming, but I think the moral one, or the one about protecting the children, I'm not very convinced by that at all.
I think the drawing a line with sexualized clothing bit is a very, very good point. Because if you because you've seen this happens both in moderation and like colloquially in conversation, where you'll have like two chicks wearing the exact same T-shirt, and one of them just bustier than the other, and one of them gets called a slut for it, and the other one like nobody cares at all, which is complete horseshit. Like, no, that's not an acceptable standard that Twitch should hold itself to. The parasocial stuff is really, really difficult across the board. Something that I because you mentioned like Jake Paul, for example, and I don't exactly think he's a phenomenal inspiration for the kids either. I think it's really difficult sometimes to have this conversation because there's no way to get any empirical data on the extent to which sexual content on Twitch is actually like harming people. Like, we don't have any real surveys. We don't have like longitudinal studies on, I was 12 years old when I first saw Amaranth, and since then it's all been downhill, etc. we don't have the hard data on that, We just have inferences. I think it does stem fundamentally from the parasocial bit. I think a strong argument could be made that the focus on hot tub streamers specifically could derive from some kind of moral panic that's not justifiable. Can I ask? I didn't catch your name, the new attendee to the panel.
That's Joe, the silly serious.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, howdy. What would you do? So, say you have the power. What would you do?
Honestly, this is why I actually love this subject, because I'm not sure what the answer is. I don't think there is a way. I think banning will disproportionately harm female creators and femme-presenting creators. However, I think the categorical harm to women also extends out into the broader entertainment industry and society at large, that we do focus primarily on sexualizing women and having women as for sexual consumption as the primary way that we understand and interact with women in the entertainment space. So I don't know.
Okay. Hey, wait, I got to be right back. I hope I don't miss anything cool, but I probably will. Okay.
Okay, great.
Can I respond to that?
Sure. Go ahead, Dan, and then Nathan.
Yeah, we can look at to YouTube as an inferential medium that has been similar to Twitch, and we could see what if they have done, and the many of the concerns that we have gone through their system of using AI as a form of banning and such. As we kind of known that many of the people I would assume here will be against having an AI be at least the person that would understand the context of a certain person streaming, and it's been very difficult to, I believe, many people, including Vaush, who sadly is probably away right now, or I would even assume to people like Prime, if you have posted stuff on YouTube, you probably would have issues of like AI flagging your content because of contextual misunderstandings.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually YouTube actually reviews my content, and then still screws me over in terms of ad money, because with just the things we discuss on this channel, right? The fact that they're of any sexual nature means that they're not appropriate for advertisers. I get those emails all the time from YouTube, so it doesn't matter AI or not. I think it's the the intentions behind the company, right? Like in like for instance, YouTube. Sometimes we're just talking about trans individuals, right? This is well known, right? Infamously on YouTube, if you're talking about trans issues, that is not acceptable for advertisers. So it's a whole list of things. But anyway, let's go to Nathan and then Zero.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're responding real quick to the AI thing. If you want to see like AI algorithm fucking hell, bro. Again, I bring this up a lot, but TikTok their AI is insane. So, like I said about that VTuber account of mine, nothing I post there is super explicit, right? It's literally could just be like the character dancing in like I don't know one of them Playboy bunny suits, and then it'll be like under review for like a whole fucking day. It's ridiculous. But that's just because I think the AI literally tracks like, is this skin? Okay, has to go under review. So hopefully, I would hope YouTube or Twitch do not pick up like AI moderation because that is tough. But I did want to touch on the concept of parasocial relationships, and I see the concern with I definitely see the concern with like young audiences looking at going to one of these hot tub streams and developing a sort of uncomfortable parasocial relationship with the streamer, mainly because one, they're young, and you know they're just not fully developed. They don't have that much life experience, and they'll just fall for a pretty face. And I think it is a completely different dynamic because it's live versus on the movies. Now, do I think it's a pressing issue? Not really, because I think of just how sexualized mainstream culture kind of is. You know what I mean? I don't
Can I
think.
ask a question though? Do you
Yeah,
not feel
sure.
that would also be possible for a young person to do with a woman who didn't have her top off and was in a hot tub? Is it not possible that any attention from a woman, whether she is wearing a bikini or not, could develop into a parasocial relationship where a young child feels like they are developing a romantic relationship with someone online?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like that's why the hot tub streamers aren't that big of a concern for me because I feel like you could literally develop a parasocial relationship
Same.
with anybody on the internet. I mean, you guys saw how I reacted to when I saw Vaush in the chat number 1 and then when he came into the call number 2. Like that shit's crazy.
Yeah, me and you are
Um
both Sims for Vaush.
I
but
called him
yeah,
dad.
like to
I
to
mean,
be fair,
we're
like
all fans of
you
his
know,
work.
I'm 20 years old. I'm not one of those kids that's gonna be like, you know, I'm
No,
not
but I just
attracted
think,
to Vaush. Yeah,
okay, when
yeah,
I was smaller, right? When I was a child, I developed parasocial relationships with people who weren't in bikinis, and I would have given them,
Mhm.
hundreds of dollars just for their
yeah,
attention.
yeah.
So I understand that
I'm out
the
there.
bikini and the hot tub adds a sexual element, but I don't think it is necessary for a sexual element to be felt in that relationship. Because, like, I mean,
Absolutely.
as a woman on this platform, like, I get told just like me sitting around with my mouth in like open is sexually provocative, and I'm literally just
Mhm, mhm.
thinking like women will be sexualized no matter what we do, no matter what we're wearing. So to suggest that because a woman is capitalizing on that and making money off it, it is now something that we should morally try and control, I think is interesting.
Yeah, people literally
Yeah,
make
I
like
think there is.
entire YouTube compilations of like female streamers just getting up off their chair to like go to the bathroom. Literally just
I
like wearing normal
I
clothes, just getting up and going to the bathroom.
Mm.
Can
Can I
I
just point
respond
out
to this,
one?
Nathan?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like just so I could get remember your name. What's your name again?
Me, the girl,
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of I do get completely agree with you on that your point, Joe. It's just we see fans showing up to their houses and such to other people who end up establishing relationships with their even with like famous people with their fans. Example, Chris D'Elia did some stuff like that and took advantage of them and due to that parasocial relationship with them being a higher person than them,
But
it's
that was not to do with their bodies being on display.
yeah.
That was to do with the
Yeah,
power
I was making
imbalance.
it yeah, I was trying to make more of the case of like of a person who is a fan to someone who is the creator as the parasocial social relationship.
Mm.
And for sure in the cases of women, and that they end up getting the bad stick in the end, even if it's not their fault. And it's really, I do think that Twitch has to make a better understanding about this whole complication of women and self being affected this badly.
On the topic of
Again,
just telling on that, I just want to bring it back to a little bit, to about like a minute ago when people were mentioning like AI moderation. I feel like I am obligated to like I study computer science. I wrote an undergraduate paper on like AI development with DeepMind and stuff. Until we can figure out how to tell the difference between sand dunes, Garfield, and some nice double Ds, until we can tell the difference between those three, no way I should be at the table for consideration for this moderation. And that makes it extra difficult if Twitch is using that as the method to get around to like deal with the fact that like this whole hot tub meta thing started. Didn't it initially start because there was a loophole in the TOS?
I mean,
that allowed.
I guess you can call it a loophole. Sure.
What's the people's biggest issue with the hot tub streams? Because I'm not really understanding. Is it just the kids aspect of it? And that's
it's
yeah, Joe. If you could reiterate your point, like
like if we had to go to the person who hated hot tub streams the most and was talking and was the most vocal about it, like what is the issue exactly they're having? Because I don't really
There
understand.
are multiple. Okay, so there is the criticism, the moral criticism, right? The what about the children? Think about the children criticism, which is this idea that we're morally corrupting youth because there's no age gate on the platform and women in bikinis are inherently morally a problem. So that's the moral argument. Then there's the advertiser argument, this idea that women having their bodies out is going to drag advertisers away from the platform, which to me is ludicrous because advertisers' favorite thing is a woman's sexualized body. They love women's sexualized bodies. They use them on everything. And then, of course, there's the argument that they're distracting and take away from other people's viewers, which is just ridiculous because someone who's watching a woman in a bikini isn't watching you play Fortnite. And then there's the argument that I find most convincing, which is that there is on some level, but I don't know the answer to, there is on some level a categorical harm caused by the fact that the most popular and prevalent women on the platform are women in bikinis doing tantalizing activity. And the harm that is caused by that is that other women on the platform who don't participate in that kind of content creation feel pressured to participate in that kind of content creation or are treated in the same way that other streamers are treated. So like if I was streaming and let's say I was talking about, I don't know, Immanuel Kant and someone came in and was like booba, like that's not necessarily the engagement I want. And I'm immediately seen as something for sexual consumption because that is the prototype on this platform.
So okay, I wanted to really engage this. Hopefully, Vaush gets back soon because
just really quick to address to what she was saying. So if you go on Twitch and you say you click on browse, right? Is it just like mainly hot tub streams and then you have to travel a little while to see people actually streaming, or is it like scattered through? Like
it's at the top. I can tell you that.
I watch
always
them
at the top?
and they're scattered. Well, they're scattered through as well because there are smaller content creators who are women who are scattered throughout.
Because I can see the issue if they're always at the top and you're having to scroll to actually, see the smaller guys that aren't getting like 6,000 viewers.
You're actually forced to watch 30 seconds of a woman grinding her pubic bone against a pool toy before you can access the site.
No,
it's really front and center.
So okay, all right. So hold on, sorry. I want to get this out. So one to you, that there are hot tub streamers. There are a few who are a little at the top of just chatting. They happen to have tens of thousands of people, and they already had those numbers previously, but now they've switched to hot tub streaming and they've increased their share. And then there are other smaller hot tub streamers that are through. Actually, I know one who just started hot tub streaming. She's a nice woman. She was at 150 people before, 150 average. The first day she started hot tub streaming, 1.5K. So it's a 10 times multiplier.
God damn.
That's hilarious because
Yeah.
I literally today I opened Google and the first thing on my homepage was Pokemon hit 100K doing like a hot tub stream on Twitch.
Well,
Like literally
hers
advertised the
wasn't
first thing on Google.
Hers wasn't the same.
So-
It was just offline TV.
I know.
happening.
I'm just saying, just on the top.
Okay, so multiple things. One, in terms of advertisers, right? I don't think it's actually Joe. I hear what you're saying that advertisers often like using women's bodies, right? But not all of them do that, right? So they have a pool of advertisers, and unless they're like individually managing like which advertisers are attached to which streamers, right? You can see a point where some advertisers who don't want to go down that route can be attached to a stream that is sexualized, and they'd be unhappy with that. So that's like not in
Prime, do you think that women's bodies aren't sexualized in video games?
No, I think they are, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be a video game company, right? I'm saying Twitch has lots of different advertisers, and some of those advertisers, not all advertisers, would be comfortable with that. So it's not impossible that they could lose revenue in that fashion, right? But video game companies aren't the only ones who advertise on Twitch. There's lots of companies that do. So I guess that's my point there. And beyond that, I don't think there is a moral problem with this, at least not one that could ever be avoided. So hot tub streaming is the new meta, right? That everyone's jumping on, and because it's highly effective. But I'll tell you my thinking when I first arrived on this platform a few years ago, before that was the meta, is that there were a lot of attractive women who were clearly using using their God-given assets to advance themselves on this platform. And I did go into the mindset of other female streamers, right? That like, she might be one of them, right? Like, would I actually want to give money to this woman because she's just like using her her beauty to advance herself here? But I took the time and got involved in some of these women's communities, and the women I found were actually just extremely engaging individuals who were good at what they do, good at working an audience, right? And I realized, not everyone was doing that, and it was unfair of me to be judging them initially. And in fact, I had a conversation with one of them, an Australian, about that, because I had been an active member of a community. I said, at first I thought you were just, a pretty girl using that to advance herself. And she was like, well, thank you for giving me the opportunity of staying with my community and seeing that's not what I was about. But that was unfair of me. That was on me for doing that. But that happens whether there are attractive women existing in hot tubs on Twitch, right? That's going to happen one or the other. Sorry, go ahead.
No, can I just say something in response to that? Because you hit a point that I find really interesting, right? And that is that we live in this moment that's all about sexual liberation. And what we have really liberated is women's sexual expression without liberating their sexual desire. So women are allowed to be sexual for other people's consumption, but God forbid that a woman actually wants to feel sexual or have any desire for anyone else. So it's interesting to me, even that in this moment, you're sort of saying, oh, I just realized that she was hot and she didn't mean to be hot. But like, it's also okay for a woman to be like, yeah, I fucking want my boobs on display. I'm hot. I enjoy being looked at. I enjoy being desired. Like, I get something out of that. And if you get something out of that, that's cool. Like, I don't know how I feel about this in totality, but I do think it's interesting that whenever people defend women's right to sexuality, they defend the right to express sexuality, but they sort of fall short when it comes to desire and a woman's right to desire.
So
if I could,
I'll just respond, and then I'll go to you, Vaush, and then Malcolm, I think.
Wait,
right,
could I go after Vaush? I'm sorry, I didn't finish my point earlier.
Okay. All right, sure. Fuck. God damn it. My thoughts have also changed on those women and their sexuality. So on the other side of this, like, am I okay? Not that it matters, but what are my feelings on hot tub streamers in general? I say, like, get your money however way you can, right? If this is the tools that you have available and you wish to use them to advance yourself that way, that's fine. right? And I'm actually quite supportive of it. But my thinking was different before. Like I thought like there was something wrong with a woman taking that avenue. And I realized like I don't know. I guess it was just weird. Like, oh, this is an option available to me, right? But instead, I realized, well, it's less that women have more options to make money. It's just that other avenues have been closed off to them, and this is the best avenue that so many women have decided to take. So that's good. Maybe that answers what you said. I'm not sure if it did. But let's go to Vaush, and then Nathan. You want to finish your point after that, and then we'll go to Malcolm.
I just want to say, I feel like it's possible we might be kicking the can down the road a little bit with this one. See, parasocial relationships are a problem everywhere, including with my channel. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of people who donate to me because they like the attention. That's not just a booby streamer thing. The thing that makes it specific to the hot tub streams, the booby streamers, it's the salacious nature of the content. And when I talk about this, did I hear echo from somebody? Oh, Aaron, I hear that from you. Do you mind muting?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me mute. It's my Discord.
Yeah.
No worries. I love you.
Okay.
Parasocial.
Shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, when I talk about this, I tend to think of like, I worry about kids, like 14-year-old boy, like maybe they're lonely and the closest thing they can get to a woman's attention is using their mom's credit card to donate to Amaranth or whatever. But I feel like then I'm not really complaining about hot tub streams. I'm complaining about the fact that, this position we're in societally is one which has led a lot of young people to feelings of loneliness and on me. Because we have increasing levels of depression, anxiety, suicidality, lower rates of friendship, later time in life, people are losing their virginity, getting married, etc. By every social standard, human beings today are inferior to what we were 50, 60 years ago, less happy in every possible way. And maybe it manifests in ways that are destructive when paired with things like the booby streams, but then it's not really the booby streams problems, right? I mean, if you're going to do that, you have to go the whole road down, take on the whole porn industry, all of it, including self-published stuff like an OnlyFans, and then maybe salacious advertisements up on the freeway billboards, and you can run that down forever. The ultimate problem right now is that people are in a position where they're lonely and desperate, and they have a toxic relationship with models of content creation like what we're seeing on Twitch right now. We're not talking about stuff that's deliberately designed to play on the psyche, the way, say, a Skinner box in a mobile game might. You give the little rewards and you pan it out so people dump thousands of dollars into it. Those are designed by psychiatrists. Those are made to fuck with people. But booby streams, it's not really. I mean, to an extent, sure, they'll write your name on their tits, but beyond that, it's fairly standard content creation. So maybe it's not the issue. Maybe the content's not the issue. Maybe we're just looking for ways to criticize Anami without actually calling it by its name.
I'll go to Nathan, but before that, I just want to give my friend Jo an outro. She's amazing. She's wonderful. I love her so much. And she's fantastic. And just so you know, right, if you God, I think exclamation Jo, is that? Yeah. It gives you her YouTube channel and her Twitch. She has a great YouTube video there that was just featured on another big YouTuber's page. You want to tell us about that, Jo, a little bit?
I actually have my boobs out in that video. So it's a philosophical analysis of bimbo. And I'm a philosophy PhD, so I'm just trying to make some ideas more accessible. And I'll be doing a new video in the next 2 weeks on the philosophy behind lying. So I'll be looking at Kant, Augustine, and a little bit of Frankfurt. And yeah, thank you guys for letting me say some stuff and chatting and being really good faith. And I hope you have a good night.
All right.
Do you stream often?
See you later.
No, I should stream more, but no.
Yes, and she should. Right. She's amazing. But those are her Twitch channel, her YouTube channel. Please go follow her right now. You won't regret it though when she does stream. When I can cajole her to do that. But thank you, Jo, so much.
Have a lovely night, guys.
All right.
See you later.
Okay. But yeah, let's go to Nathan and then Malcolm. Yeah.
Yeah, so earlier I was talking about the parasocial relationships. I would say, okay, I've had moderate success on TikTok. You know, I'm proud of it. I've had videos hit 1 million views, pretty great. But on my VTuber account in particular, I notice, well, one, I'm kind of conflicted, right? I post these kind of VTuber thirst trap type things, but I realize, wait a minute, are most of the viewers gonna be like fucking teenagers? And I feel somewhat uncomfortable. But at the same time, like I don't post anything too explicit, so it's fine. But I would say some of my strangest parasocial relationship interactions happened on that account, where like someone would comment, "Oh, you remind me of an old friend," and I'm just like, "Bro, I'm a I'm a dude with an anime avatar. What you I didn't say that to him. I'm just like, that's nice to hear. Hope you're good." Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's I think creators are in a very strange position when it comes to parasocial relationships, and I think the audience needs to learn how to be somewhat responsible. I mean, we've seen how parasocial relationships are like in general. I'm sure I'm sure Prime, you're a creator. I'm sure you've experienced some people with parasocial relationships towards you. Vaush definitely has. I mean, like you being
Oh
here is
no.
like seeing one of my idols here, right? You're like recently. I've been watching so much of your stuff. It's like you're on the same league as like Bernie Sanders and Kyle Kalinske in my head. All right, you're like top tier. Okay.
I
Um.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't
Like.
overflow,
Yeah.
bro.
I was gonna say real quick. But I try to be responsible, right? So like I'm a creator, I'm a streamer too. I emailed Vaush at some point, like asking if he wanted to do a stream together. He said he's busy, and that's true. That's cool. I respect that. But like I was fanboying at the email alone, like at the reply back. But like I try to be responsible, and I really would encourage audiences to not see like the creators as personal friends. You know what I mean? Like just be careful with that.
But it goes even beyond that because there's some people are weird too. Because I remember back in the days I used to watch a channel called the slow mo bros or the slow mo guys or whatever, and
guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
guys.
and the main guy, someone seen his girlfriend in like one video. He literally went to the guy's house, broke in, and tried to kill them both just off of that one interaction. So it's just like the internet and everything is like just in such a weird place right now.
I don't know how you. Well, let's go to Malcolm. Malcolm's waiting, so let's do that first.
And jumping off Malcolm?
What?
Malcolm, please.
Oh, sorry. I thought somebody said something else. I'm not really sure like what everybody's like, all-encompassing position is on like hot tub streamers or stuff like that, specifically on Twitch, because I think that kind of like fleshes out the issue, so it's a little bit more specific, like whether it be like the advertisements or like the parasocial relationships or like kids accessing like quote unquote what would be considered like sexually promiscuous or like explicit material or whatever. I think something to consider, like that I think gets kind of glossed over is even if we're looking specifically at like explicit content, Twitch does host like explicit content in the form of like video games. So like you can have video games with like sex scenes or like violence or gore or anything like that. So I don't think that anybody has like, as far as I've been listening, has like advocated for the deplatforming of like hot tub streamers or anything like that. But I think that's something to be mindful of, like when we approach it from the aspect of like we need to protect like kids from viewing explicit content on a site that isn't for like quote unquote sexually explicit content, but that content can exist like under TOS as far as like games go and stuff. That was kind of all I wanted to say about that.
So
May I
Yeah,
ask
you
a
can
question?
play games that got nudity.
What was that?
You can play games that got nudity in it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about, is like that you're allowed to like stream that kind of stuff, but like if a girl is like wearing a bikini or something, that could be like questionable, right? That was just kind of what I was saying.
Games
So,
also have ratings though.
so I want.
Yeah, and Twitch channels can have like 18 plus, like, you just click and say that you are 18, but it's the same thing when you go to Pornhub. It's literally like, oh, I'm 18, and that's it. That's all you have to do to get in. So I mean, like,
Doesn't stop anyone.
Yeah,
And
you
it
yeah.
can
never
do
will.
it.
And so
No.
I wanted to make this point. I see your hand. Who is it? Sorry, Azrael. I see your hand. So we'll go to you. But I guess maybe Nathan already made this point, but that like that worrying about these parasocial relationships, it seems to be a pointless endeavor. a completely pointless endeavor, right? Because this is inevitable. Like a person, as Malcolm pointed out, appearing on one video, right, one time on a very popular channel, right, and that possibly instigates this violent reaction. There is no answer to this, right? There's no answer to that. So to single out this specific type of parasocial relationship in terms of people using doing what I consider sex work on this platform, like what's the point, right? People react violently to women on this platform, right? Who buttoned up, covered down, right? Just talking about video games or doing a cooking stream, right? And the violent sexual comments that come at them, like it happens all the time. And so, even to me, right, a guy, right, like sometimes it happens very rarely, but every so often you'll get a person who comes in here and wants attention from me that I'm not giving them, right, or the right type of attention, and then things go south very quickly with them, and then eventually it'll come down to racial slurs, sure enough. But
as it does.
But you see, but so I don't see the utility in focusing on this specific type at all. I just it
Well, and if
comes with the
there's one
territory,
more
basically.
if there's one more thing I can say about that too, is that's kind of like the idea behind like being a public figure on like a streaming platform is that parasocial relationship. Like that's how you make money. So like I know that like in the grander scheme of like the hot tub streamer issue, that can be a component of it, sure, but to like attack that individually is kind of like stupid, especially if all of us kind of engage on like this platform where parasocial relationships are like kind of the point, right? It seems just kind of counterproductive.
Do you guys think this? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Ken.
finish your point. Finish your point. Go ahead.
Do you guys
I'm
think
out.
that?
Sorry.
Wait, who's finishing their point?
This is where we kiss.
Vaush,
This is where we
finish
kiss,
your point.
actually.
Oh my god.
I'll finish my point. Do you think this has to boil down to a parent thing? Like with porn online, no parent can keep their kid from looking at porn if they really want to. Not these days. Even YouTube's got nude yoga on it. I mean, you can go find that if you really want to. It's about more explicit than anything most kids are ever going to see in real life, and it's just there on a website that's not age gated at all. You just have to have an account. And we don't fuss about that. It seems like in the pursuit of trying to keep this from being a problem, we're going to potentially do a lot more social harm than we could possibly do good. There's no way to set a line on this either. I mean, what about sexually explicit language being used on stream? Sometimes I use some pretty graphic, gratuitous analogies in my stream. You know, coconuts. Now, if I was a lady and I said it in a sultry voice and I played out a couple adjectives more, what I'm essentially doing is live reading erotica. Now, I don't think Twitch would take kindly to that, but the arbitrarity between what I already do and what that could potentially, because that doesn't get considered sexual content when I do it. The point is, I feel like maybe the line is so blurry and so marred by our cultural biases, there's no way to come to a definitive, landing on it. It might just be a broader cultural thing that has to be addressed,
Yeah, that was what I was going to mention. Mainly does anyone remember, I'm going to show my age as a Zoomer on Twitch. Does anyone remember Caseytron back in, I believe it was 2013 or 2014? There was this huge, it was a very similar controversy. No, Caseytron.
Oh, okay.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Caseytron is a streamer on Twitch. I don't know if they still stream or not. I really don't know.
They do.
Oh, okay, cool. But there was a huge thing of Caseytron played League of Legends, big webcam, booba, whatever. It's it feels like a very similar thing to what was going on with the with all of the complaints people had with that. And it all had very similar arguments to what's kind of going on right now that are explicitly against hot tub streamers, and it kind of to what Vaush was saying, it does seem like a broader problem that Twitch on its own cannot fix. YouTube on its own cannot fix. This is way bigger than just any one site. This happens on Twitter, it happens on I don't know if it happens on Facebook. I don't even know if anyone uses Facebook. It happens in sport, it happens in music, it happens in film. it's way broader than just like the parasocial thing. It's even just beyond the internet. It's so ingrained into how we have developed as like a society that exists offline and online. And I do think that, like, yeah, it kind of does feel like it needs to come down to a parents need to, like, when it comes to, like, there's the birds and the bees talk, there's the parasocial talk, and there's the don't touch my fucking credit card to play Hearthstone talk. It feels like that's kind of one of that seems like one of the solutions that will have like the most impact, but even then I don't even know if that would be like the be all and end all.
Rainfall, and then Dan.
So, first of all, like when we talk about this from the perspective of using language, like calling it a problem or saying sexually explicit content, the question I have is, what is different between a woman sitting in a bikini on a hot tub on Twitch and a woman sitting in a bikini on a beach in real life? Is that also sexually explicit? Is she being sexually explicit by sitting on a beach on a towel in a two-piece on a beach? Why is it sexually explicit when she's sitting in a hot tub in a two-piece on Twitch? Why it's these things like, for example, an old I'd have to find the video, but a bunch of guys accosting a woman as she was breastfeeding, saying it was disgusting, ironically standing where they could see a Victoria's Secret model on a billboard, and they had no issues with that. And one person, well, this is disgusting and that is sexy. Okay, so, and I also find it slightly ironic, please forgive me, no disrespect, that it's a bunch of men discussing this topic as well. But
damn right.
I just thanks, Vaush.
My ovaries take great offense to that, but thank you.
Hi, trans woman, if that counts.
Oh, okay. I did not know. My apologies for assuming then. I'm also trans.
Oof.
So, but there are quite a few cis men in the conversation. My apologies. So it just that simple question. I even wanted to pose that to Vaush or to Prime or to whoever wanted to engage with that. Specifically, Malcolm as well. Like, you were saying sexually explicit content. Why is it sexually explicit content when it's on Twitch in a hot tub and just chatting, and not when you see women on the beach in Florida or California? That's my thing.
If you want to really grapple with the arbitrarity of the distinction, you have to think, okay, take a thing. What is it sexual when X or Y does it? What if I did it? Okay, we all know what the game is when it's like, hey, donate and I'll do a squat, donate and I'll write your name on the board, and they have to bend over to do it. We know what's going on there. When I bend over in front of my camera, does anyone consider that sexual content?
I
No.
fucking do. Sorry.
Okay, look, my homies out there do, my men loving men types, but for the most part, not so much. No, because I'm a big burly guy. It's just I'm just moving. At most, sometimes it looks goofy, but goofy don't get you banned off Twitch. But if Twitch starts cracking down on sexual content, you've got yoga pants and what have. I wear sweatpants when I stream. And I've got, now you may not know this is a bit of Vaush lore, I've got a fat dumpy, okay? I've got a plump ass, all right? Listen, I got stairs in my home. I do my workouts. I had my college campus very hilly. Maybe I bend over, pick something up, I drop, pick a cat up. Nobody's going to ban me for this. And nobody would call it sexual. But people would, or people would call me shameless if I had tits. So you can't get around the arbitrarity of it. It makes it incredibly tough to make any kind of strong standard decision, from a
not to
top-down.
mention the dress code on Twitch also adversely affects women and also affects trans and non-binary individuals as well, right? Because like I tend to wear a baggie when I'm streaming, because I identify as a woman. I'm a trans woman. So like I am concerned, like if I'm not wearing baggy enough clothing when I'm streaming and I'm on camera, that someone's going to say something about me as well, and I think it adversely affects people. And I would also draw a line in saying like I don't necessarily agree with Joe. I love her to death. That there is harm caused in this too, and I think being a socialist, forgive me, this is the market speaking, right? This is the commodification of people and the commodification and sexualization of women's bodies. And if we want to stop it, then we should find a way to stop the thousands of men who are watching this content, giving these women money. Like it's not I feel like it's always this conversation is always victim blaming too. Like, the woman is doing the thing and she's making money doing it. It's her fault. She's in the
What?
wrong.
I never blame the woman. Get that
Not
bag,
anybody
you know?
on this panel, I should say. Sorry, not anybody on this panel. I didn't mean anybody on this panel.
So
Sorry.
hold on.
On this panel, yeah.
Hold on. So I'm gonna answer her question, then I'm gonna go to Dan, who's been waiting patiently, and then Malcolm, then Nathan, and sorry, people are new faces on this panel, and Gilly. All right. So. One, I actually take offense when people come and say, well, it's only this type of person talking about these subjects here. Well, this is an open walk-on panel. Literally at the start of this, I was like, hey, let's have some female representation. If you want to come on. A good friend Joe actually did answer the call. Thank you, Soulker, for the 5 Hachi on gift subs. Our friend Joe answered the call, but I can only present the voices that actually show up. So that. That's it, right?
Vaush is intimidating.
Talk about.
Yeah. Hold on, stop, please. Yeah. So I can only present the voices who decide to share themselves, and you know what? At some points, we're just gonna have to talk about these things, right? The people within these communities, for whatever reason, don't want to join, then it is what it is, right? But doesn't mean we can't talk about these things and have these conversations. Okay.
I actually asked PrimeCayes. I told PrimeCayes, no women. PrimeCayes said no, I will have diversity on my panels. Okay, but I actually tried. So this is actually in spite of me. All right, I'm taking the fall for this one.
So and then to the issue of what specifically Rain Cloud talked about in terms of comparing to women in this situation is very similar to the conversation we had previously, which I think some of you may have missed, on sex work, right? On if you are what is an act sex work, and the definition I had presented is that it's a matter of intention. And I think it's basically what Vaush was moving towards. It's a matter of intention, because if you intend to use your body in whatever way to stimulate some sexual attraction and then be remunerated, whether through money or through some sort of gift or through food or whatever, right? Then that is an act of sex work. Now, talking about what you're saying, like a woman sitting in a hot tub on Twitch, right? It's hard to say. It's difficult to say that it. Well, I'm not sure if I would call it sexually explicit. I'm not sure that's the term I would use, but it's difficult to say that they aren't doing that for the specific reason of getting that attention, that sexual attention, because knowing the demographics of Twitch, knowing the economy of Twitch, right? You're going to get a response from the audience, and oftentimes in the form of money. So how is that not a form of sex work? I don't see how it can't be. But that's my opinion on that. Let's go to what I say, Dan, and then we'll go to Malcolm, and then Nathan and Vaush.
Yeah, I like to Vaush. I don't think there's no shame of you right now going behind you, picking up your cat and showing your bare ass on screen.
That's all right.
There's no shame because you are a cat dad, so you for sure are a person to have to take care of a cat, and everyone will understand instead of people go around and says, "Oh, that's shameful." So,
well,
but
maybe I bring cats in too often. Maybe I'm clearly just looking for the dumpy truck show off. I'm just looking for an excuse.
well, I mean, yes, of course, and you made a good point about the parents being a problem here, as we have now laws of parent negligence to certain issues if the parents it's their fault to have their child be in danger in certain ways. But I do think that certain influences, if the parents allow it, can definitely harm or affect the kids in certain if depending on the situation. Like I would not be surprised if if the parents allow someone to watch old videos of Jake Paul again and then takes out it gets like a bunch of lava foot and lights their bed on fire because Jake Paul did it in his house. Yeah, this is old news. And to that, and normally in that situation, you would assume that the parents will be negligible if they cause much damage to even their neighbor's property. So, I would think since this is like a bigger issue beyond just Twitch and YouTube and Twitter, I think to much of the audience, including the panelists here, do you think there has to be a case where we have to have it legislation to make a law that would probably best way to do it, or should be at least done through private companies?
I'd never trust the state to put out a law restricting free expression online.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
So
Yeah, with the way laws are enforced in general, I would not be comfortable with that because typically the punishment is either poverty or death.
let's
Well, and let's be honest, most of our congressmen don't even understand what the internet is, let alone Twitch.
Or they don't.
let's go to Malcolm, Nathan, then Vaush.
So with the question of like why is it sexual for like a lady on the beach, or like specifically why would it be considered sexually explicit for somebody on Twitch to do like hot tub streams versus like a lady on the beach or in a hot tub, like, you know, in like Palm Springs or whatever, like normally, that not being sexually explicit. You kind of answered your own question with the commodity thing. Like the point of it is to sell sex. The point of it is to be promiscuous or to like engage in like as close to possible like TOS acceptable sexual acts, like, you know, like sitting on a banana or like doing squats or like bending over, these kind of things that people will pay for. And that would just be like the easy like cut across the board difference between the two. And I think that you honestly answered your own question in asking it, that it's a commodity thing, that those would be the differences, that somebody sitting on the beach in a bikini or whatever is not asking for it, is the wrong word to use, but they're not like commodifying their own body by existing as a woman in a bikini in a sexualized way. But somebody who engages in that behavior, like specifically to make money and engages specifically in the sexualization of themselves to make money, that would be the difference between those two things. I would say that one would be more sexually, what's the word that you use? Sexually promiscuous. There was a word that you used.
Explicit. She's
Sexually, it'd be more like sexually explicit if you're like going at it from the angle of like, I'm going to be provocative to make money versus like, yo, I'm just on the beach like trying to chill, get a tan. Like those two things are two totally separate things. And especially as like a socialist under the commodity form, you know, your intent in like what you're trying to achieve is going to be relevant as well.
Let's go to Nathan and Vaush.
Okay, so this is why I'm still a social democrat, because I am somewhat okay with people taking advantage of commodity and consumerism in this situation. Look, the people can disagree whether they want to watch these hot tub streamers or not, but at the end of the day, I want them to like make money, and I'm perfectly fine with them getting donations, even if, you know, I don't want Twitch to or YouTube or any of these platforms to clamp down on them, because I personally feel like if they clamp down on them, they're gonna clamp down on others. It'll be like Adpocalypse, but for Twitch, and that would be pretty bad. And I feel like I think mostly women streamers will be at the brunt of this thing of potential harm, and that would not be good. So this kind of goes back to what's the difference, or like between like a woman breastfeeding and being like, why would a woman breastfeeding be called disgusting? I mean, while there's like a Victoria's Secret ad there, I think it's just hypocrisy. It's just hypocrisy, and I think society needs to do what it needs to do to get away from almost punishing women for, in the case of the woman breastfeeding, literally just having a body. Joe was kind of going into this earlier. We've seen sort of liberation, sexual liberation in terms of being looked at, essentially, but not sexual liberation in terms of the woman themselves being allowed to be sexual or feel sexual or have desires. And I think that definitely needs to change. I think because okay, I'm gonna just be straight up, right? So I do like I do like femboy shit, right? And I enjoy it. and that should start as a fetish, okay? But I want to feel comfortable. I want to I want to feel comfortable doing horny shit. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna just be straight up, and I think everybody should be. I think part of it goes to just like my general philosophy in terms of like when I'm outside interacting with people. It's just like if I don't necessarily like something someone's doing, it's not my job to police them. It's not my job to stop them. And that's my same sort of approach to this Twitch stuff. I don't want Twitch policing the hot tub streamers because it's definitely going to harm other streamers. And yeah, I mean, I think this goes into also like my experience with TikTok. I don't want the sort of more suggestive creators to have to be limited just because the audience of TikTok tends to be younger. People don't have to make their content curtail to the majority audience of a platform. They should make content they enjoy, period, in my view. And yeah, I guess to end off, I saw a comment, a thing in the chat that was really funny. C-SPAN 2 After Dark. That's essentially what's going on now. Pretty great, pretty interesting, and yeah.
Let's go to Vaush and then Rain.
Yeah, you know what I think would be interesting? Because these hot tub streams, I mean, they're appealing to the male gaze, which is fine. I'm fine with that, you know, being a guy. But when we think of something that's sexual, we tend to frame that perception around the male gaze, you know, big, heaving titties, milk everywhere, you know, just the whole 9 yards. But now, I can't claim to know what women want. It's a very broad question. But imagine if you had a live stream that appealed to the female gaze, you know. I've seen the little romance books you can buy, okay? I know what shit gets them off, all right? You say you get a real hot guy, okay? I don't know. Let's say the hottest one you can think of, me. And, you know, it's a bedroom stream. I'm sitting on the bed, okay? I'm wearing a collared shirt, 2 buttons down, sleeves rolled up. I've got thick, veiny forearms. We're imagining right now, okay? You know? Sultry look on my face, steely eyes. All right, I've got an acumen of bedroom memorabilia decorating the wall behind me. Some 50 Shades of Grey shit. Now I bet you somebody pulls that off right. We're talking primo content for a lot of women out there. You know, I mean, primo stuff. Maybe you can't one-to-one this, but maybe kind of an equivalent of some of the booby stream hot tub stuff. But I bet you do something like that, nobody's going to look at that content and say, this is sexual content, this is corrupting our youth, you know, this is damaging the environment on Twitch. I bet what people are going to say is, did my cam just get cut off? Huh. I bet what people are going to say is, oh, that's weird. Because, you know, something's going on there, but it's not the type of sexuality I'm familiar with, you know? So it's its own thing. It's weird. It's aberrant. It's abnormal. But I bet you that wouldn't get flagged the same way your hot tub streams would. So
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Yeah. I think it's.
Can I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Can I add to that real quick? A thought in my head because of that. One of the things I noticed about female sort of attraction to things, I guess the female gaze, which is a rare thing, but it's especially prevalent on TikTok, especially when like sort of we saw the normalization of femboys in the early summer in 2020. Now there was a lot of fetishization, but admittedly, I'll just be straight up. Look, I know I got a beard. I know I don't look that feminine, but when I wear a mask, when I wear eyeliner, it looks great. But like, it was somewhat empowering. I'm not gonna lie. It was somewhat neat to see a lot of like these female creators on TikTok talking about how much they would want to peg me. But like, so I kind of like the female gaze. Can the female gaze like please grow, please? Yeah. That's all I gotta say.
So
we should fight for a world where. Oh, sorry.
No, finish your point. No, go ahead. Finish your point.
I'm just saying I think it'd be nice if we could fight for a world where men are both as available to and as in demand as women are when it comes to, you know, them sexualizing themselves for content. Because one of the big issues here is the imbalance, right? You know, on its face, there's nothing wrong with a lady with big tits in a movie, you know? I mean, it's great, actually. It's just that if it's every movie and it's only the women, and it's all the time, and then, okay, well, you know, clearly a bit of a bias in the casting here. But if you do it both ways, or all ways for our fine NB folks in the audience, then the problem disappears. And now it's just a matter of sexualization, not sexism, which to me is an easier conversation to have. Much easier. You know, the more you narrow down the variables, the easier it is to solve those problems. So yes, more TikTok femboys or whatever. Yeah.
So, I don't think, and we'll go to Rain next. I don't think, I honestly don't think the female gaze works in the same way, right? I'm not sure this is something like a dichotomy. Yeah. I don't think this is like some simple dichotomy where you just like replace one for the other. And I don't think, and I'm not sure if capitalism could exploit the quote unquote female gaze, whatever that is.
Not
The way
yet, we'll see.
Well, maybe, yeah. But I don't think those things are equivalent. And maybe this is something I should ask on my Amazon Lily panel Tuesdays 8 p.m. Eastern, in my female focus panel. In case you didn't know, that's the thing that I do. But anyway, maybe there's something to ask there, because yeah, I don't think these things are like a simple dichotomy. Yeah, but I'll leave it at that. Rain.
Okay, so slightly long-winded, forgive me. 41% of Twitch users are aged between 16 and 24, and 32% are aged between 25 and 34, according to Global Web Index. And 65% of Twitch identifies as male, and 35% identifies as female, which of course that also needs to get fixed, so there's additional identification options and things like that. But you know, when we talk about this, and people love to talk about this as a problem, quote unquote a problem, I just went to browse live channels, sort high to low, and the top 6 is Rust, Grand Theft Auto, Final Fantasy, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Valorant. Then there's like NBA, Apex, and then there's Amaranth sitting in a chair doing ASMR at 12,000 viewers. It took me 76 channels out of all channels currently streaming on Twitch right now, sorting highest to lowest viewership, to find the first person doing a hot tub stream, and it's 2 women and 1 man, and then another 50 channels before I found another woman by herself in a bikini doing a hot tub stream. So when people say, well, this is a problem and it's they're the top, sure, maybe in the live chat category, but in overall Twitch right now, the top 100 channels has Amaranth sitting in a chair, and she's wearing, you know, like a tank top thing, doing ASMR, and like 2 other people in hot tubs. One is a group, like I said, of 2 women and 1 man. And the other is a single one, is a woman by herself, right? So are we maybe like the people who say this is a problem, which I don't believe? And if there's anybody on this panel, are we maybe a little bit of like fake hysteria, concern about something that, like, in the grand scheme of Twitch's overall viewership and what is being watched right now, there are 31,500 people watching Summit play Rust, right? And next to that is Grand Theft Auto, and then Final Fantasy, and then Grand Theft Auto again, and then Call of Duty, and then Valorant. Like, okay, cool. So female streamers in hot tubs are apparently this huge, massive problem because they're at the top, and you have to scroll through everything to find other content creators. I'm sorry, how am I supposed to compete with Summit at 32,000 people watching him play Rust? Like, I don't... This isn't a problem. It's not a problem. And I feel those that make it out to be, again, I'm not insinuating anyone on this panel is, unless you are, then that's cool, we can have a conversation about that. I think it's concern trolling and fake outrage and all the same stuff that we've been dealing with forever. It's the topic because it's women. That's it. It's the topic because it's women doing it. Like Vaush continues to bring up. If it was him doing it, no one would care. They wouldn't. I mean, well, they would, because, you know.
They'd love it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
You know what I mean, Vaush. Come on. Anyway, they wouldn't. He wouldn't get banned. He wouldn't get attacked. Like, you know, no one. There's the difference there. So, like he said, there's a difference between sexism and sexualization, and I think there is some concern of some sexism here. Again, for the 50,000th time, not anybody on this panel, so people don't get mad.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
What if we just banned women from Twitch? Wouldn't that?
We should ban women from Twitch.
Would solve the problem. But
it's only 35% of the user base identifies as female, so I guess fine, sure.
We'll go to Soulker. We'll go to Soulker and Nukulani. But I will say, like, it is the here in the East Coast. And the big, like you said, the Amaranth is not doing hot tub streaming. She's one of the biggest, right? So it just, I mean, to be fair, this isn't like a good time to get a sample size. Just to be fair, but like that doesn't necessarily negate your point. But to be fair, okay.
Just real quick. So were you like logged into your profile? Because I just logged out of my profile on Twitch, and it's literally like all hot tub streams. Like I just went to the browser, and it's like just a bunch of.
I
hot tub
browse live
streamers.
channels filtered by English and sorted by viewers high to low.
Wait,
and
can I ask one quick question? Because I think we can get to the key of this. Okay, so I think everyone here recognizes hot tub streams aren't a downfall of humanity.
No,
and
they're
I think we all recognize the fundamental arbitrarity of the term sexualized content. So we can get behind that. But Rain,
Yes.
I want to ask you. So you're Twitch now. Congratulations, you're a billionaire. But you got a tough one, okay? Now you have to decide, how do you police sexualized content? So I'll give you the easy one. Obviously, like nudity, nips, pussy, dick, whatever, asshole. So, okay, fine, easy. But beyond that, do you have any, by what process would you cut anything off? Or would you actually just leave it at the nudity? As long as there's nothing showing, it's all good. How would you handle that?
I would, one, obviously nudity would not be allowed on the platform. There are other platforms for that. Two, Twitch already allows us as content creators, as streamers, to identify our channel, right? For audiences 18 years of age or older. You know, like you get that whole, the streamer has indicated that this stream is for mature audiences, right? And you have to click through. I think that's more than enough. And obviously people would say, well, anybody can just say that that's true. Anyone can, unless now we're talking Twitch must demand of you a picture of your driver's license to identify that you're 18 years old. Where is that line drawn, right? If I'm Twitch and I really want to go all the way, then by gods, if you want to be on Twitch, you're going to send me a photo of your driver's license and your birth certificate, and I'm going to know that you're over 18 so that you can stream that content, and you can stream and you can also engage in content. I'm going to verify your age, and if I can't verify it because you're underage, then you are forbidden from taking a look at it, right? If you want to go truly heavy-handed, then we go Big Brother, and everyone must prove how old they are on this platform.
What if a person doesn't mark their content as 18 plus, but it's pretty, I mean, you know, they're bikini,
You'd have to
they're
moderate
like
it.
playing it up.
You'd have to have your moderation team moderate it.
So how would you, so let's say you're looking at a list of streams that are not said to be 18 plus. What types of things would you have your moderation team go, all right, that's clearly 18 plus, move them to that section? Like what type of behavior do you think?
If we're Twitch, and not me because I don't care, if we're Twitch, then I mean, considering what they've done with the dress code already, which adversely affects women.
Well, you are Twitch.
Okay,
if
so
you don't
if I
care, then you can leave it at that. You wouldn't even bother having an 18.
I mean, if you wanted to do like a thought experiment, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But me personally, Rain, I don't care. I don't care. People already have the ability to identify their streams for mature audiences. There's already that age gate there. And outside of Big Brother Twitch deciding to demand proof of age from everyone on the platform, which is 29 million streamers, by the way, let alone people who watch, or 9 million, sorry. Dyslexia is a thing. 9 million streamers, let alone the people who watch content, right?
But
what is there to be done?
Well, isn't a self-ID system kind of toothless if there's no moderation team to determine that a person is inaccurately reporting the nature of their content?
Probably, yeah. But what do we want? Do we want Twitch to demand everyone's proof of age?
Well, not for age. I meant for sexual content.
For sexual content. Well, I mean, again, I don't think a woman sitting in a hot tub in 2 pieces is sexual content.
No, but that's what I'm like. So, but if you're browsing the not 18 plus streams, like, what do you see? Like someone grabbing their big old titties and jiggling them? You know, I mean, that's pretty sexual, I guess. Like, what
It's
types of
already
behaviors?
TOS.
Sure, but we're constructing a new TOS now. I'm just wondering, like, how would you? Because if there's a method of self-identifying which category you belong to, there has to be a way for Twitch to agree or disagree with that assertion, you know?
I don't know, Vaush, because as a trans woman who streams on this platform and who gets abuse every time I stream, I don't think anything that we do is going to keep women protected, to keep the LGBTQ community that streams on this platform protected, to keep the 16 to, you know, however many 16 to 24, which is again 36% of 36% of Twitch, the people that are underage, adequately protected from things that are extremely explicit. I personally think Twitch does enough of a job as it is. Like, there's no blatant nudity, there's no sex, and you know, if someone wants to sit in a bathtub and chat with people while wearing a bikini and doing stuff, I mean, sure, I don't care. I mean, the only thing would be that maybe that person should mark that, you know, that honor system, that self mark, that this is a stream intended for mature audiences. And outside of that, you know, without additional moderation actions that would adversely affect women, like most moderation actions that Twitch takes does, then I don't know. I really don't. I personally just don't care. As long as you're not having sex on Twitch and like openly naked on Twitch, I don't care personally. And I really don't think anybody should. Because guess what? You have the option to not watch the content.
So
well,
let's go.
but people are oh, sorry. I've gone on this tangent long enough. I apologize.
We'll go to Soulker, Nick Laney, and then I think Mark met their hand up.
Well, I was just going to start off by saying that, like, I, for one, look forward to Vaush's future Twitch thought career that he's looking forward to doing, because, you know, you appear to have this very well thought out. So, like, you know what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah, my dumpy ass will carry me all the way. That's going to push the 400K subs right there.
But like, I think it's generally accepted that the United States is one of the most sexually repressed countries in westernized civilization. Like, and so like to everyone's comments earlier on like what, like why this is viewed as a problem, and it's because society in the United States is so sexually repressed as a society. And it's like, and I did some board research on Twitch thoughts because I didn't even know this was a thing a year ago. Twitch thoughts
Please
were
not use thought. Please.
Sorry. If it's derogatory, I apologize. But
I mean, it literally means that hoe over there.
Well,
like,
I know, yeah, and it like this is how literally ignorant I am to a lot of this, because I learned about this term, and so I was like, well, I want to know what this is all about. So like I
you can call me a thought if you want.
I will. But I learned about this whole concept, and so I started doing a little bit of board research while locked in my house in regards to it. And like, realistically, if a woman wants to use her cleavage to net $2 million, like, more power to her. And I'm gonna sit here and be and I'm gonna sit here and be jealous because I don't have the cleavage to net $2 million. But like, one of the most absurd things that I found beyond the hot tub stream is a sleep stream. Has anyone heard of these sleep streams that
I've seen
that
them?
a lot of them do?
Amrath does that too.
That shit's creepy.
Yeah, like literally all they do is they sit on Twitch for an hour and then like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now, and then get paid to sleep. That's what they do.
The TOS to that though is that you cannot be streaming to a category. By the way.
You can't. So like, you can't show up in the algorithm or whatever it is. Like, but it's just
usually it happens in like the 24 to 48 hour like streams and stuff. People will go to sleep and wake back up and things like that.
Yeah. But like that was just such an absurd concept to me, that it's like so like women can literally just sleep and make money in regards to this on Twitch. Like, this is crazy.
That's
but like at the same time, it's
boys.
like, but it's like at the same time, it's like more power to that woman for that first woman that thought of that, to be like, I'm just gonna sleep for 8 hours, and then desperate men are gonna sit there and they're gonna donate money to me while I sleep. Like,
I just want that energy from men, you know?
Yeah, like
The
bravo
first-
to them.
The first sleep stream I seen was a long time ago from like Asian Andy, and he just made it so sounds would play when people donate, and it would like wake them up. So I don't think it's I don't think it was like a specifically woman thing.
It's not.
Let's go to Nicolini, then Malcolm, and then the guy with his name. Go ahead.
So my problem isn't at all with the sexuality. Let the mommy milkers be free. Like, let people wear what they want on stream. That's all fine. I'm gonna pose you a situation, then I'm gonna wind you back to the reality that I have issue with. So Vaush starts to wear more scanty clothing. He starts bending over in a thong to pick his cats up. He has an OnlyFans now on the side he links to in his description. He's the biggest, like, person on the stream. Destiny 2 is doing it. I bake cookies and I talk about politics and I have a philosophy degree and I just bullshit sometimes. But my 10 viewer stream starts to get rollover viewers when Vaush ends his stream that start to ask me where my OnlyFans is and ask me why I don't wear shorter shorts. I mod for some small female content creators who now have an increase in that number of people coming in from those communities who are expecting that type of content. And like you said, this isn't a safe community for women or trans people or LGBT. I get the F word thrown around at me when I stream. I have to constantly like mod my own chat for stuff like that because people just love it. But like my concern is this growing like issue, even if it's only a small community, creating a very toxic subculture that spreads into other places and makes it less safe for smaller content creators to grow.
So, again, Nuke, if I can, real quick. I'm sorry, Zarel. Why is it anyone else's fault but the people who are doing that, right? Again, you get stuff, I get stuff, right? Do I blame anybody else but the people who come into my chat and throw all the anti-trans slurs and ask me the same questions? You know, when am I gonna do, you know, trans on trans girl porn and things like that? Or, you know, the most disgusting thing, which is when you get the surgery, can I sleep with you? Which, believe me, I get asked a lot. Why am I blaming anybody else but that single person for being toxic and making that choice and that decision to be abusive and disgusting? Why am I blaming anybody else?
From the perspective of the people that I moderate for, they feel like Twitch is creating a less safe community for them to do something that isn't sexually influenced. They came to a gaming and like conversation platform that's being used through TOS loopholes to create other things. I don't have a problem with those people doing those things, but I can see why they think it's affecting them. It's not like they're taking viewers from them. They don't think it's changing the audience. They just think there's a spillover in the attitudes about the way people are addressing women because it's allowed on Twitch.
Well, and something that I really want to know is like, why is it that like, and let's be real, it's a majority of men that are getting banned for this kind of stuff. Like they're being modded to death with the ban hammer. Like, why do men think it's okay to say the certain things that they do say in those live chats? Like that's the one thing, the misogyny that I've seen during that 3-month research that I did is just insane. Like, why does anybody think that is okay?
Because it's how you get the attention of women. They can't get it another way, so by abusing women, they guarantee a reaction. It's way, way, way easier to get a woman to pay attention to you if you're hurting her than if you're trying to woo her. That's the reason
I
why.
guess I've had too many women capable of kicking my ass to ever even think about saying anything like that.
So basically what Vaush is referring to is, you know, a kid punching a girl on the playground, like because that's easier for them to express through violence, right? And get that
It's
attention.
the same logic, yeah.
Than anything
else.
I will say,
clear, like it's not okay. Like men watching on Twitch, this is not okay. What is being said in these chats? Like, so stop.
Well, I think we can all agree that broadly, culturally, obviously, we want changes in the behavior of the people who are causing these problems. Of course, we can't snap our fingers and do that. So in the meantime, we talk about things that we have a more realistic potential of changing, like TOS policies. Not that that necessarily fixes the problem, but it's something we can at least change in the immediate moment, in addition to the cultural things. I am sympathetic. To whom said that? Nuklani? Your name? Nuklania. I'm sympathetic to what you said as well. So again, I need to make this perfectly clear. I place no blame on the shoulders of the booby streamers. Okay, I think
neither do I.
Right. Of course. I think that I'm glad we're in that position collectively in this panel, because with some groups you have to argue that point. But imagine, I can imagine it like this. Like, say you have a massage parlor, right? The massage parlor, it's above board, perfectly, accredited, normal, no happy endings, what have you. And the people who work there, mostly women, they are professionals. They have, a master's or PhDs in like sports science or in medicine or whatever the hell degrees they're associated with physical therapy, and they do their work, and all is well. But then through some change in law or the company policy or what have you, a couple of the people at that massage parlor are now, they give happy endings, what have you, okay? I don't think there's anything wrong with that morally. I have nothing principally against sex work or prostitution, but there is no denying this could potentially change the ways in which the other women are treated, the ones not comfortable with doing that, in the clientele that approach them, in the associations they make with their job, and the expectations of the industry at large. Not the fault of the women, again, and that's more of a broad social issue, but it is one of the reasons why you know, I imagine that hypothetical massage parlor might have forgone that type of service to begin with, right? The air of professionalism could have been something that protected both the bodies and the reputations of the women who worked there.
So we'll go to Malcolm next, and then Zarel. But to you, Vaush, that I mean that there is no protection from that. Like, there's no need to make a hypothetical out of this. Like as it is now, women engaging in massage therapy above board are constantly propositioned. I was reading an article just after the massacre that happened in a massage parlor recently in the States. There was an article about that, about you know, like how often there was like a survey how often it was done to massage therapist, and it's off the charts, the amount of people who've been propositioned. So it's like it's already associated, there's already an association there, and so that damage is done. But I guess that's maybe to the point of that Joe was making previously, that this can have knock-on effects, whether intended or not. Simply that the fact that happy ending massages exist, meaning that masseuses everywhere have to deal with that one way or the other. But let's go to Malcolm and then Zell and Nathan.
I'm gonna jump off after this, so I just wanted to say a couple of things before this edible really kicks me in the ass and I fall asleep. So I don't know if anybody agrees with this, but earlier you guys were kind of discussing like the idea of enforcing age restriction a little bit more strictly as far as like IDs or birth certificates go. I don't know if anybody like actually agrees with that, but pragmatically, like that's not really a realistic expectation for any kind of like platform that is widely accessible to a lot of people. Even like on Facebook, sometimes when you do like a fake name or something like that, they ask you to produce like an ID, and you have the same issue where people will just make a fake ID. This is something that's like really big in the trans community. We have people that will like make fake IDs for other trans people, so we don't have to put our dead names on Facebook and shit like that. You just kind of run into a lot of issues when you're trying to like enforce age restriction on like massive public platforms that are just kind of, you know, there to hang out and chill. So I think that that's kind of like a dumb idea, and there's like a lot of things that like further already marginalized groups when you require an ID to use something like fucking Twitch or Facebook or whatever it would be. And I don't know if anybody actually agrees with that, but that was just kind of my thoughts hearing you guys talk about that. And then the other thing is you guys were talking a little bit about the rollover from like if there's hot tub streamers, like when that stream ends, the people that are watching that will go to the other streams and be like, hey, like, can I see your tits? Like, hey, can you pull your boobs out a little bit more or something like that? And I kind of agree with what Rain was saying earlier, where from my perspective, just hearing it always seems to kind of boil back down to victim blaming, and that seems a little bit aggressive of a term, but I'm comfortable using it because it's like, even if in the void of these hot tub streamers, kind of like I think it was Prime was bringing it up just a second ago, even in the void of the hot tub streamers before they were popular on Twitch or they were, you know, whatever, that was still the way that like men conducted themselves towards women streamers in the first place, right? It's just like a little bit more quote unquote acceptable because in the stream they were just in, it was fine to ask for that. So like the boundary is a little bit more blurred or whatever, but that isn't the fault of the women. And I think everybody agrees that that's not the fault of the women. But I think instead of having a hypothetical question about like, do these women make the hatred, or I shouldn't say hatred, but like the harassment of these other women worse, it should be like, maybe the issue is like the guys that feel entitled to like jump from chat to chat to chat to chat asking for booby pics instead of saying like, well, maybe women should, you know, platform their bodies a little bit more responsibly so the bleed over doesn't negatively affect other creators. I think that would be more of the fish to fry.
Well, I mean, how is it any different from telling, you know, for example, just happened at Six Flags, a woman got banned from Six Flags because the security guard told her in her 30s that her shorts were too short. It's her fault, right? Or all the dress codes at schools, right? When a young girl gets suspended or tossed out of prom or whatever, it's the woman's fault. It's her fault. She is sinful. She is, slutty. It's how she dresses. It's her fault. She was asking for it. I actually am very comfortable using victim blaming in this regard because
Yeah, and I don't want to ascribe that position to anybody on here because I think that
Me
was
either,
just
not
kind of
anybody on the platform.
just kind
Not
of
right here.
the flow of the conversation and shit like that,
Mm.
just like commenting on it. I think that like that's the wrong way to take the conversation. Like I
If
think that
y'all
you
want, I can
have
blame the women directly, so we have like an arch nemesis in this panel. You know, I can do
Yeah.
that.
honestly
ham it
that's
up
why I
a little.
transitioned
Do
because
it.
I fucking hate women, so I cut off my own tits to spice
Base.
them.
Um,
Anyway, I was just I'm almost done. Sorry, I'm gonna go to bed. This edible's like
Yeah.
fucking with me right now. I would just say that like from my perspective, like that just seems like the wrong way to take the conversation. Like I understand that there's like a conversation to be had about it, but framing it in the way where it's like, oh well, if these girls weren't flashing their tits, like maybe these guys wouldn't go and ask other girls to flash their tits. It's like we kind of know that guys will have sex with like McChickens and cantaloupes and shit like that. It doesn't matter anyway. They're gonna do it regardless, So just
I wish we had data on
topically.
this. That'd make it so much easier to
If
have.
you go to like, I can send you a video if you want. I have data on that.
Well, I mean, like
I'm just kidding. I'm
like,
totally kidding.
reported incidences of sexual harassment, but there's no way you could meaningfully.
Oh, I thought you were
catalog
talking about the
something like
McChicken thing. I was like, I
Oh
have
no,
data
the
on that.
McChicken thing, I believe. Yeah, no, we've
I
all
was like-
fucked the McChicken in our lives, haven't we?
Well, don't call me out like that.
Well,
That's
who
not great.
hasn't?
On
I have.
nose goes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
didn't
right.
Wait,
come
can
to the
I
stream
wait?
to get attacked. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like most everyone's more or less on board. We've got the thrust down, it seems, with how we want to approach this issue. We all seem to agree. It ain't that big of an issue. Any attempt to crack down on sexual content will be biased and punitive, mostly towards femme people, which probably isn't good. The sexists on the panel, maybe you think that's good. Whatever. We agree it happens. So we should probably focus on broader cultural issues, whether that be people's alienation, loneliness, parents talking with their kids about parasocial relationships, or teaching men not to be cunts online. I think we all get that thrust. So moving forward, then logically, okay, what do we do now as streamers and people of relatively meager power to address this situation, this zeitgeist, this conversation? What do we do apart from arriving at the answer? We have conversations with our chat. I've noticed, I have a progressive community. Sometimes even my community has issues with the ways in which they treat female guests who appear on my stream. I know that's not because they're horrible people. A lot of them are just 13-year-olds who don't really know how to behave that well.
Let's go to Israel, then Nathan, and then maybe we'll try our new guest, Katarana.
I'll actually try and mention that more. Most of what I was going to say was on the previous thing, but from a different angle of, does anyone remember global moderators on Twitch? It was really
no.
It was a really nice sounding idea where you had Twitch admins and Twitch staff, and then you had chat mods elected by the streamer. But between those two layers, you had global mods, a community, it was like a community of people, you volunteer as a global mod, you're given global moderation privileges on Twitch. And the idea is you would it basically what Automod does now is what they did. They got replaced with Automod. And it's really unfortunate that they got rid of it, because a lot of the issues that kind of happened on Twitch could be not solved, but at the very least addressed by the help of community global mods. Obviously they would be appointed by Twitch, and they would do a lot of the stuff that let's say streamer gets front paged. I've seen the unfortunate scenario where a number of the trans streamers I watch, they'll get put on front page of Twitch. Twitch offers them no help in moderation. They go from 50 viewers to 2,000 viewers, and chat becomes an absolute tidal wave of transphobia. And the streamer either has to just disable chat or wade through it. There would be one example of just Twitch being hey, yeah, we're going to front page you. We're going to assign a few global mods just to help out. And obviously global mods, as far as had the they had the privileges to just ban a user from pretty much every chat. Kind of what a lot of communities do of someone gets banned in one chat, those mods tell other mods of other chats, that user gets banned in other chats. Like, it functionally achieves that same thing. And it's really unfortunate that Twitch got rid of it in favor of automod, because automod can't catch that sort of thing. It can't catch the whole you were shitty to one streamer and that person gets revoked access to be shitty to other streamers. As to how we go to the broader how do streamers on Twitch kind of address it. A part of the I know normalize gets tossed around a lot, but I do think there's some credence to larger streamers being like, guys, I'm not your friend. When push comes to shove, I don't know a single fucking one of you. Like Vaush, I know you do this every now and then where you'll mention that your name's on a screen. I am aware there's people behind most of them. Some of them are probably bots, but when it comes to the stream, the viewer streamer relationship, they're not chat isn't people.
Depends on how much I want donos that day.
That is true. Yeah, but kind of that sort of stuff. Because obviously that on its own isn't going to solve the whole issue, but it does if if every large streamer starts doing that, and that sort of spreads as a thing streamers do, knowing that it will shield them from people potentially turning into the assholes who will go after Twitch streamers negatively to achieve some end of parasociality. It seems like a decent one prong and a many pronged. Here's a bunch of things streamers could do to help shield themselves.
Let's go.
Can I ask?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Vaush.
No, I just have a zero IQ question. Why do Twitch and YouTube streamers, let's just say Twitch, why do Twitch streamers not get a set of instructional videos when they start their channel that are pre-recorded by Twitch that everyone could get, that give them basic understanding of the tools they can use? I can't tell you how many times I've seen newer streamers get brigaded, harassed, trolled, whatever. They have no idea how to use the moderation tools whatsoever. They get miserable, they cry, they end stream early. It's so upsetting watching it, because if you know the moderation tools, if you know how night mod autobot works, if you know how you can 3 seconds you can fix a lot of
Followers only
problems,
mode or subscribers only mode, yeah.
Yeah, followers only mode, 1 hour, 1 day, whatever, you're done. You're clean. But people don't know. Why is there just a 2-minute video? Hi, you've made a Twitch stream. Just in case you ever need it, here's some moderation tips that can help you in the future. It's just why? Why it's to be so easy?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what they said.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
Oh, don't they have articles for this type of thing? It might not be. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So I would say, yeah, and I think maybe Dan was trying to say this as well, but YouTube has a YouTube Academy type thing for this, and I'm not sure if they specifically go into moderation tools, but I know they here's tips and tricks to be a YouTube streamer. Why doesn't Twitch do a whole bunch of shit, right? Vaush, I'm sure you're familiar with the failures of this platform, right? And how they aren't taking advantage of. For instance, why isn't Twitch? It's something I've brought up here before. Why isn't Twitch advertising just chatting, right? Understanding that exploiting these parasocial relationships to their fullest. People love just chatting to the point where when people actually play games on the Twitch, the gaming website, a streamer's viewership goes down because people love just talking to others and having that connection, and a game gets in the way of that. So why not be advertising everywhere? But yeah, you could just have these relationships. You could talk to people, and these are really popular just chatters, right? And you could expand into the female demographic, right? It's just an easy idea. It's a layup, but they don't do it. So I don't know. Whatever. So I'm gonna go to Nathan Soulker, the Nicolini. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, Nathan
I mean,
Catarana, Soulker, and Nicolini. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, earlier it was being talked about how how people are sort of just misogynistic in the chat. They just feel emboldened almost. Perhaps it's the fact that they're online. Perhaps it's the fact that they're anonymous. I have what it made me think of was what I said before, even to like some other people, I said like, you know, someone might be a sex worker, but they still absolutely deserve respect. And that the reason why I said that to in another conversation when I had someone before was because that person I was talking to was somewhat of a victim of a larger creator. Uh, I have a feeling most people don't know him. Vaush knows him. Papa Gut. He's an absolute fucking prick. Okay, I'm sorry. Is that too mean for Twitch? I don't know.
No, it's fine.
But so my homie on TikTok, and he tries to do streaming himself. Malnourished emo, or Rob. He's a nice guy, and at some point he made a Patreon for somewhat suggestive content. Nothing like straight up porn, essentially. And then Papa Gut, who happened to be a mutual of Rob was around 40K, subscribed. Which we were kind of like, holy shit, that's fucking kind of weird because Papa Gut looks like he's fucking 40. But that's besides the point. But essentially, he was hella creepy. He he was asking Rob to post nudes eventually in that Patreon. He sent Rob a butt plug through the mail.
It's a good tactic.
Overall,
It works most of the time.
As you do.
Another thing the thing that's most concerning is like, bro, like Papa Gut has over 2 million followers. You know, it's a like 40K is like nothing compared to that. The absolute power dynamics is insane, and Papa Gut has said it before on stream talking about Call Me Carson. He doesn't give a fuck about power dynamics. But like the reason why I bring this up is even though Rob wasn't like, you know, he wasn't making porn, and he actually stopped doing the Patreon stuff. He just, you know, lost interest in doing it. He was getting and the creepy activity goes beyond. He was talking in the VC about how he wants to send Rob videos of him and his girlfriend having sex. Overall, completely inappropriate things. But it feels like that sort of treatment that Rob was getting because he was doing these sort of more explicit content is this mindset that a lot of people just go into just straight up normal G-rated women streamers. They just go into their chat and treat them like with absolute disregard and disrespect and treat them completely like objects. And the fact that you can see it from normal people, the fact that you can see it from people with huge platforms, it's just like, wow, I don't know, man. Like it's disturbing to a degree, especially when it comes to people with like giant fucking platforms. But how do we solve that? How do we deal with that? Well, number one, I think that people like Papa Gut shouldn't have such a large platform. Number two, especially because he has the power to harm people, and he's proven that he doesn't give a fuck about certain people. And I think honestly, you know, like with this modern technology that we have, parenting in the future, parents, at least like maybe millennial parents, Zoomer parents, when they got kids, they need to tell their kids, hey, look, this internet thing, I grew up with it. Don't be a fucking prick on it, or I'm gonna slap you. I don't know, fucking do some kind of put you in timeout.
Why are you like advocating violence?
No, okay. Look, what I mean by this is like I think there needs to be the only way to solve this like sort of online behavior, because frankly, moderation is not going to work unless you're willing to like banhammer like 1 million people, right? I think people need to honestly be raised better and raised for like internet interaction, you know. And with someone like Papa Gut, who's like 30, 40 something years old, he's like you can't teach much old dogs new tricks. But for the younger people, you know, TikTok has an epidemic of the boys, which make the most toxic shit ever. I think
Also a
their
good
parents
show.
are well, no, like yeah. I mean, it's different. The Boys, good show. The Boys on TikTok, cringy ass 14-year-olds that like to say slurs. But like parents need to do better in that way. Yeah, so you know what? Someone in the chat said, "Don't be a jerk on the internet, or I'll take your phones away." That's exactly what parents need to do.
To be fair, I mean, men have been like this for a long time. It's not just an internet thing, right? I mean, you can look at women's writings back from the 19th century, and that doggedly
Yep.
aggressively sexual behavior seems to be pretty consistent. It's unfortunate because once you boil it down to that, I mean, it's just fundamentally being a toxic masculinity problem. Everyone gets to throw their hands up and go, "Well, guess we're not solving this on Twitch ever," because that's like a
Yeah.
decades long, centuries long cultural problem to fix. So then it's like, okay, well, like, what are we even talking about then? You know, sure, it'd be great. Get me a unicorn to ride too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are any type of moderation tools you can implement on Twitch that would actually meaningfully cut down, maybe not on the attitude, but on the behavior. You know, there's something that Twitter does right now, and it's if your tweet has profanity in it, if you try to tweet it, Twitter will go, "You sure you want to tweet this?" And you could just tweet it anyway. It doesn't stop you.
Mhm.
It's just one little
Mhm.
window. But I have heard people say, friends of mine, that has kept them from saying some really stupid shit because you get a second to look at your message one more time, you know, and sometimes that's all it takes to back off of it. I wonder if something really simple like that, you know, or some like, "Are you sure you want to type out, big mommy milkers, please put your pussy on my face, please, Are you sure you want to type that? Is that what you want to type? Do you want to actually commit to typing that and putting that in chat?" I don't know. Maybe that would do something good. Some kind of profanity filter. Little suggestions.
That sounds like a pretty good idea. Yeah, I think that would. I
Maybe.
you know, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
rather
like
than rely
some people are a little too toxic to like sort of like deal with that shit. But like I think with the way you were saying, like some people were legit help, so like I think that works. I mean, yeah.
So let's go to Katarana, Soulker, Nicolini, and Dan.
You could circle back just because I want to find a point of contention that I can actually answer.
Okay, all right, that might be a long time, but okay.
I can
Soulker.
say something really dumb if you want.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Can you give me some race realism? I'm ready.
I don't want to get banned from Twitch again. Thank you. Maybe not dumb, but not TOS. I'll think on it.
All right, Soulker.
Yeah, like what I was just going to bring up is that so I have 15 years of broadcast experience, and like one thing that I think that we're slowly adapting to over the last probably 5 years is that PrimeCayes, you're a broadcaster now. You know, welcome to the community. Vaush, you're a broadcaster. But there's certain broadcast experience that I believe that broadcasters need to share to new broadcasters, kind of like that instructional video that was being discussed. And like I think the two best pieces of information that I can ever offer when it comes to that is that I'm from a small town of 15,000. I worked in this town for 7 years. I had a listener base of a few thousand. I had stalkers. I mean, I had mouth breathers that would call me over the phone. And that's like one thing, because I don't think that broadcasters truly understand the influence that you have on the society at large, in that like there's a psychological effect that when you are in somebody's life every single day, like I can tune into Prime, I can tune into Vaush, I can tune into whoever I want to every single day. Like there's that psychological effect that you gain like this weird pseudo relationship with that person, in that you think that like you're entitled to certain things. And it's like my earlier confusion about misogyny, it actually kind of like opened my brain up about this a little bit. And it's like it's almost like that psychological effect, because we don't talk about it and we don't discuss it. Like that's what gives these men, and I'm using giant air quotes when I say this, it gives them permission to be misogynist to these hot tub streamers, because they gain this weird relationship with them. And like the second piece of advice that I can give to any new broadcaster is that you're going to piss somebody off no matter how hard you try not to. There's going to be that one person out of the 10,000 that's watching you that's just going to be completely pissed that you're doing, but they're going to be there every single day being pissed about you every day for 8 hours a day. And so like if that was the 2-minute instructional video that I could offer to somebody, that's what I would offer to a new broadcaster.
Yeah, Papa Gut hates me. He legitimately hates me. He confronted me on stream because I made a meme about him. It's hilarious.
Well, like I haven't worked in radio. I haven't worked in radio in 2 years, and I still have to deal with it when I'm out in like they'll hear me talk. Like I'm talking to my wife, and like they just insert themselves and be like, "Hey, you used to work on the radio," and it's like, yeah, you know, that was 2 years ago. Like, Please let me eat my lunch. That's all I want to do.
So I totally feel you on this. This is actually yeah. Like there are, and it's worse, of course, when you're doing political content. Vaush knows this better than I do, I'm sure. That like people have these lines, right? These lines that they have in their minds, and if you cross these lines, then it's unforgivable. But like, how could you have possibly known what these lines are? You're just like talking about a subject, and that is a subject that's like. You you could have been talking about like war crimes, right? Making jokes about war crimes the day before, but now you've talked about this specific like thing, right? Like Black Israelites, which is a thing that happened here, and that will be the thing that sets them off. Like, how could you not talk about this respectfully? I mean, children being blown to pieces. No, that was funny. I was joking about that part, but Black Israelites, why aren't you taking them like seriously? Yeah, it's like So
how dare you eat your ice cream cold, Prime? Like how dare you?
Yeah, I agree. Most people aren't emotionally equipped to handle live streaming, not just big live streaming, but at any level, because normally when people have meaningful social interactions, they're doing so with people who have something to lose. Nobody wants to come off like a jerk in person, or maybe a few people do, but it's not common, not really. Online, that filter doesn't really exist, and you can get yourself in pretty hot water socially on a lot less, more frequently too. And people, the way they handle backlash, my God. Not that I'm an expert on this, mind, but some people, a little bit of drama in the community, and the streamer, I mean, they fall apart emotionally. I think if you're going to teach somebody getting into this, and this, I'm not doing the victim blaming thing here, okay? I'm not saying they're responsible for the harassment they get, or they should suck it up and take it, or blah, blah, okay? But it's a difficult job, socially. Having to deal with people hating you for nothing, like you said, having to deal with these massive outrageous bursts of antagonism towards you. And again, this is even small streamers. I hear streamers with like 20 concurrents talk about drama in their community. They speak about it with the passion and fervor of talking about them losing their high school friend group, because to them it may kind of feel like that a little bit, There should definitely be a little bit more discourse on this, because most streamers do not acknowledge this side of the I guess of the job. You have well-maintained communities like Offline TV, they handle their shit pretty well, but that's because they have an army of moderators and managers who keep things clean behind the scenes, who make sure the streamers get as touched by it as little as possible. And even they feel the blowback. Sometimes, pretty often, maybe. If you don't have all of that, it can get really rough.
And it's exhausting. Like, that's the one thing that I think more broadcasters need to talk about. It is so exhausting to deal with that antagonism on a daily basis.
We'll go to Nicolini, but I just got to say a few things on this, because it's worse with my channel. It's worse with my channel than I think it is with Vaush. I'm gonna make that assertion, because with my channel, my audience is involved. You're here, right? And you get to know these personalities, and then these personalities, along with myself, can piss you off, right? And I have to deal with the drama that happens here all the time. All the time. Other people's drama that I am not all involved with comes at me in my DMs. And I lose subscribers. I lose income over it. It's happened because, someone has a problem with someone else and they want me to handle it like I'm the fucking dad. Like, what? I don't know.
I mean, but you are Daddy Prime.
But yeah, but it sucks because, like, I get that these may be your issues, but, like, what am I supposed to do? And then it's like, okay, get rid of like this one person who actually participates greatly within my open panels, right? Within my community, because you may have some issue with them. Okay, but then you don't actually participate, right? You don't act like you're barely here. So which one should I do this? But you actually maybe donate. So I have to balance all of these, and it's actually quite difficult. It's actually really difficult, but whatever.
I don't envy anything.
I will say though, I do this job with relish, right? And if you want to be a part of this, right? And if you want to start nonsense drama within my community, hey, if you're new here, hit that follow button, hit that notification bell so you know I'm going live, because we do this 6 days a week. We give you a lot of content, right? And yes, a lot of times I get pissed off and write bullshit in my chat, and I will love you for it. As long as you're part of the community, hit that follow button. Okay, Nicolani.
Yeah, so I've been doing this, I've been streaming for a little over 2 months. I've had a Twitch for a while, I've been on and off, but I've really been doing it for like 2 months. I've started to come onto these online panels, and I took the time to read through this poorly put together, like Microsoft Word textbook that Twitch put together for new creators when I started. And it doesn't cover doxing, it doesn't cover building a team of moderators, it doesn't cover what to do if you're starting to get hate speech. It covers how to set the auto mod and what the 5 levels cover each in one sentence, but it doesn't really teach you anything. It doesn't cover any of the bad potential aspects of streaming. It doesn't cover parasocial relationships or mention taking a day for mental health. It talks about how to keep a consistent streaming cycle and that your audience is going to want that. It doesn't set you up with the tools to successfully really enter this. I took the time to step back and listen to other people and listen to some actual Vaush clip talking about streaming and the things he does to keep himself happy and healthy doing it, because that's a streamer my friends recommended to me. But like, there's nothing Twitch is doing to set that up. And to the question of what we could do about all of these negative members of the community and chats and stuff, I guess it's my reformative education type of mind to say, like, when these people get a mark or a ban or a suspension, they have to do some sort of Twitch sexual harassment course. I don't know. Have them click through and read something at least so they understand what they did.
Well, yeah, because Twitch is just going to teach you what Twitch needs to teach you to make them money. That's really all Twitch really wants to teach you.
So we'll go to Dan, then Katarana. Maybe she has something apparently, and then I guess Rain.
Yeah, it is this stuff is really true. Like, I could give you like a really recent example of Vaush. Like, I think was it Vaush recently did some take about like plurality or something like that. And I'm friends with much of like Demon Mama's community, and we just get like a bunch of people who are plural and just talk shit about you for some reason. And
plurals?
Plurality, like people with like multiple personalities.
Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And
Damn,
like,
they hate me, huh? Well,
I
hate
don't-
them too.
I
There you go.
don't.
Now it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, I don't really have much of a take on it, but it just, a lot of people just seems to have like, it's so difficult to make people happy. And there's always going to be just that one topic that people will take really seriously. I would assume, Rain, there's always going to be many things that you would talk about that people would not take you that seriously, but a lot of it is actually affecting you a lot, such as Native American issues.
Yes.
And I want to take respect to that because I understand that you're very passionate about it. And and much for me, I am very passionate of history and taking history very seriously, and working with people who even work in even YouTube and do education with that, talk about how much they had to deal with like tankies, for example. And Vaush has a lot of history with those kind of people.
I'll engage with that after Katarina.
I have lots of anti-fans. That is definitely true.
Yeah, it's
Vaush bad.
True.
Yeah.
Which,
well, thank you.
Yeah, and which is a weird thing to deal with. We'll go to Katarana next, but like that's when I've recently gotten a lot of hate on this platform, and it's interesting, right? Like as a private person, as a person who's generally like quite private, it's something I expected. It's something I expected to happen. You know, like. You can't please everyone, and the haters are everywhere. But like, especially when it's like an organized hate, right?
Yep.
it's like a different feeling. Like, wow, there's just like a group of people out there somewhere talking all kinds of nonsense about you. You're not even there, right? Like, as we were just talking to Demon Mom about this actually earlier, Dan, and we were talking about that in a previous panel, and she was talking about how she looks at this stuff, right? And how it weighs on her. I guess I just do the smart thing. I never look at it, so people are complaining about me on Twitter.
She talks about it all the time of how it affects her, and
Who's complaining about you, Prime?
Lots of people are.
Yeah, and
But
a lot of
I open that kind of worms.
But my point is that like it's just best not to engage with that. Like, why, right? People are going to hate you for all kinds of reasons, and you can't convince them not to, right? So like, unless you just love the drama, like, don't engage with that at all. I don't look at Twitter. I don't look at fucking Reddit posts, right? I'm never aware of these things until my friends literally let me know that it's happening.
She has her own. She probably mentioned her imp code already to you a lot. She always mentions it to everyone.
Yeah, and so it's just I think that's another thing that you have to prepare people for. It's like the hate watchers that are involved, right? And that, like, for whatever reason, even if you're a tiny streamer, you can have a lot of hate content coming your way, and that can be tough for a lot of people to deal with. Ignore it's my best advice, but whatever. So we go to Katarana, Rain, Vaush, and Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody with NPD, I'm constantly trying to find more and more ways in which I suck. So I mean, it's kind of some people are able to go ahead and like not doom scroll, but like I always am just like I really, really am bad at everything. Yep, there it is, and there's proof because some random fucking person on Twitter with like 2 followers and like an egg photo said I suck, so it's true. They're right. So I guess maybe it's nice that you're like in your resolve like that, but that some of us are really insecure. um, but outside of that, I hear that some people were like kind of talking about the going back to the time of potentially having global mods. Um, God, I don't want to sound like an idpol loser, but that's not super intersectional for the sole purpose of some of us do things where other people are allowed to hop in. And if we did have global mods, a lot of like POCs and like trans people would probably just get like banned from Twitter. I'm sorry, banned
Yeah.
from Twitch just because
Mm.
people come into our fucking VCs and just start yelling at us and then like there, boom. Well, now we have the person there that's essentially like in charge of banning people off of Twitch. So yep, you're banned. Like especially like yesterday when like someone came in and just started like calling me a mad lad and a bunch of fucking ends. We were just like, please don't report. Well, let's go back to global moderation because all of us are gonna be fucking banned within minutes. All of us. And Vaush, I've never got to tell you this. I fucking hate your cat. Okay. The other no.
He hates you too.
This one. Oh, okay, good. No, the other one's cute, but this one's just so naked. It freaks me out. Okay.
Look, she's so ugly.
A pigeon is. You said like pigeon is like the most cutest cat you ever had, or something.
Absolutely. Look at her. Hey, there we go. Wah.
Let's go to Rain.
Wow.
Obligated to bring a cat on.
So,
stream.
You're scaring her.
Is it naked?
Oh, hey,
Always.
It's a sphinx cat. Of course, it has no fur.
So,
Yo.
a couple things
That was
since
cool.
there's been a lot that I wanted to engage with, if I can. One, I will say to Prime, I do think that you have done a good job. I have personally had some disagreements with the way that you've handled things, but I do personally think you've done a good job with what I think you should be doing, which is trying to keep the community as a whole safe and protected, right? It's not your job to handle everybody's drama. It's just not. But I think you have done a good job being the leader of this community in keeping it overall a safe place for people to be and to engage with one another and to learn one another and to communicate with one another. And I'm proud of you. I think you have done a good job in doing, as a large content creator with a large community, what I think is the bare necessity, which is just trying to keep your community safe. And it isn't your job. Like if somebody has an issue with me, it's not your job to handle that interaction between them and I. But if somebody in the community is like actively harassing and sexually harassing people and things like that, then, you know, from what I've seen, you've done a good job in handling those situations as they come up. So you know, for those people that say otherwise, I mean, I respectfully disagree. Just wanted to say that. Like, I think you're doing a good job. Now to some of the other things, I like with the you know, people that get angry about things, and like Dan brought up with the Native American thing and some of Vaush's takes. I will openly admit I have not been a fan of Vaush either. And now that he is here, though, I will say, and this is the first time I've really ever gotten a chance to interact with him directly, that I think the problem that Vaush deals with is there is a distinctive lack of people who are willing to come to him and say, Vaush, can we talk? This thing you said hurt, and here's why, rather than just attack him. And I think that's a problem. I think that there are far too few people who are willing to come to Vaush and say, this thing that you said hurt, and I would like to tell you why it hurt, if you're willing to listen, so that maybe I can show you why it hurt, and I can teach you, and you cannot do it again, whether you agree or disagree or whatever. But I feel like there are far too few people who are willing to sit with a large content creator like Vaush and just reach out, because he's a little intimidating, I'll admit, right? I'm like, I've got BPD, right? I'm actually shaking right now because like Vaush is a little intimidating. Like, it's not anything you're doing, it's just the size of your platform and community, right? That it's a little on the intimidating side.
How did I bring them here with me tonight? I'm not.
I know you didn't.
I wish you did. I wish you did, buddy. But okay.
But my stream was earlier. I'm just chilling.
Yeah, it's cool.
I do.
He's not that intimidating.
He is to me, but that's like a separate thing, right?
Depends on whether we disagree on something. Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Okay. Look, I'm not going to see eye to eye with most folks. Even if I don't end up seeing eye to eye, I'm usually pretty amicable to a disagreement. The things that turn into blood sports are usually when the disagreements are so severe that I stop giving a fuck about their personhood. Like if it's a Nazi or something, or red fash, that type thing. You know, that's going to get bloody, whatever. But usually when people have an issue with my purported lack of sensitivity, I prefer the conversations, because I'll tell you this much, okay? It goes one of two ways. I get my content either way. People try to deny me the content. I always take the content. Either you come on, you know, you're nice, we have a pleasant convo, you give me your arguments, chat, some of chat is swayed by them. This always happens. Or people shit talk me from Twitter, in which case game's on, nobody gets convinced, I get my content anyhow, and the cycle continues. I love it when people come on.
What do you prefer? If I can ask, what do you prefer? Like, let's say I've had an issue with some things that you've said. What do you prefer? Do you prefer, because it does feel like, you know, for the larger creators, right? It feels like you are unapproachable, right? Do you prefer people to email you and say, hey, I would like to have a conversation with you about this thing that you said, and the reason I want to have the conversation is because you are a large creator. I think you have a responsibility for X, Y, and Z. Can I come on and talk to you about it? Obviously, I mean, you would prefer that to people attacking you all the time, though. Yes?
Oh, well, principally, I always prefer the conversation. People don't believe me when I say this. I never actually benefit from arguing with people on the left. I've got a pretty idiosyncratic audience. Anytime I argue with people on the left, whether that's, oh Christ, the tankies, the transphobia stuff, the I don't know, the dissociative identity disorder, anything, any subject that falls within the purview of left on left discourse, every single time I lose subs, and then I can make a video on Ben Shapiro, get 5 times the views, and be a superstar. It's not good to me, but I like the convos. Of course, as a matter of practicality, I don't have the time to get to everyone who emails me these days. But in concept, yeah. The reason why I wanted to respond to this, and I know I've been talking too much, I'm actually about to dip. It's 1 a.m. and I'm hungry. It was because I wanted to respond to that, and also broadly to the Herculean task of streaming, because people can't handle the criticism that well. Most people can't, I think. That's fine. We're not biologically designed to do stuff like this, but I wish people, when they're being criticized online, can sympathize with the utter triviality with which most of those criticisms are levied. I mean,
Yes.
if you've been online for any length of time, you've probably seen somebody with a dumb fuck take every
Yeah.
day, really.
Yeah.
And like, and for a moment, you're like, fuck that guy. But that thought does not stay in your head very long. Maybe it's some deeply personal thing, and it does. But for the most part, this is a fleeting thought. And then you go on with your life. Most of the criticism folks get online is of that variety. It's short, brief, harsh, disproportionate, and temporary. And if you can accept that, if you can really reconcile with the idea that if you close your eyes and take a deep breath, by the time you open your eyes, 90% of the time, it all goes away. It really does. It sounds
Yeah.
like a forehead take, online cyberbullying, whatever. But we all do have to learn to take that breath. Doesn't justify what happens, all the mean people. But I think it's certainly preferable than convincing yourself you have to see every mean thing people say about you. There are people like that. They think they're like some kind of atlas, the world on their shoulders, and it's their God-given responsibility to personally see every horrible thing people have to say about them. They'll trawl through the comment sections and the tweets and the DMs and why? Why? What do you get from this? Is this meaningful criticism? Do you grow?
Vosh, respectfully, like for someone like me that has borderline personality disorder, I can't help it. Without medication and without a lot of therapy, which I'm doing both, I literally physically can't help it. I can't help it, right? When I see things said about me, my mind reinforces, like Katarina said, right? If I see things said about me negatively on Twitter, as one of the active public-facing trans women on Twitch, I go, okay, fine. I really must be shit. I must be a horrible human being. If hell exists, I'm going there because I'm that bad. I'm that evil. See,
Then
look,
to that point,
all these
it
people,
must
right?
be known, then at least, and you recognize this, it's an irrational impulse.
It is,
That's
but I can't control it.
Right. Of course. But it's the recognition. I hate scroll sometimes. I do this. We all do this. We're all human. As long as you're reading, the doom scroll. Oh, what are people saying about Vaush today? It's never good. At least I know when I'm doing that. This is not a great way to be spending my time. I could be jerking off right now. I could be cooking chicken breasts right now. I could be going on a walk right now. But I do this. Anyway. I've talked for far too long on this panel.
I gotta say, before you
I
go,
have one more
Vosh,
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. This is why I really like you over Destiny. Okay, I like Destiny back in summer 2019, but okay, to be clear, my two biggest idols in the world are Bernie Sanders and Kyle Kalinske. I don't agree with everything Kyle says, right? I became a fan of yours in the summer. I noticed some, shit, I thought I heard something. I noticed some videos you made critiquing Kyle, right? And you were harsh at times, but I noticed you've defended him against your chat in more recent times, and you guys talked about you've talked how you spoke to him, and this is the difference between you and Destiny. I genuinely believe you act in good faith, okay? Because to me, Kyle, I don't agree with everything he says, but I do know after his stream with Destiny, which Kyle came in good faith in my opinion, Destiny made 1 billion videos on him afterwards. He even DM'd Destiny. He's like, "What's up?" But I'm sure my assumption is just knowing how Kyle does his stuff and interacts with internet beef is did he DM you and then were you willing to have a conversation about him in the DMs and did you guys kind of clear things up back behind the scenes or something?
Yes. Every time I have a public disagreement with him, we also have a private conversation. He reached out to me. I'll be going on his and Crystal Ball's podcast on the 27th of this month. So
Oh shit, let's go, bro. Oh my god.
I have one really quick thing to say to Vaush before he goes. After you're done with Resident Evil 8, just do Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
No, it's Subnautica Below Zero. It's
and
come
after
on.
that, do that because it's a legendary game and everyone should play it.
Well, and if we're taking this opportunity to stroke Vaush before he leaves, I would just like to, and just I want to thank you, Vaush, for I've watched your videos over the last few months, and you've allowed me and helped me become absolutely unapologetic to the right-wing extremism that I experience on a daily fucking basis. So thank you for helping me do that.
No worries. We're all trying to decuck ourselves, okay? The establishment's tried to tell us we got to be nice. No, we don't. All right. What we have to be is
We
very
all
funny.
we all pray to your keloids every morning.
Oh,
Every
hey,
morning
wait.
we wake up to our Vaush temple and we're
Wait,
like,
last thing. You want to hear something fucked up? Okay, wait, really quick before I go. I'm sorry, last thing. Everyone knows I have the keloids in my ears. Or I guess most people have noticed, I suppose. I actually had an appointment to have them removed just a couple of days ago, which I missed because I stayed up late the previous night researching topics for the stream that I did that morning. I woke up
Yeah.
as the surgery was scheduled. So now I have to put it back a few more weeks.
well,
Shit.
all of us
Are you gonna
are
save them and sell them?
unfollowing and unfollowing when they're gone because we know it's what holds your power. So without them, I don't really see you. Like, you might as well just hand the torch over to somewhere else.
Get your
Honestly.
prayers in while you can. All right, I am hogging the limelight. I love you all very much. Please have a wonderful evening.
Thanks so much.
See you later.
Have a good one.
Love you too.
See you later, Vaush.
Okay.
Holy shit, that was crazy. That was
What?
Well, kind of content we get on PrimeCayes, right, everybody?
Yeah.
So booba streamers, what about them? I
Yeah.
heard y'all was talking shit.
Damn, I need.
See him around.
I need to debate Vaush and the Hibernian conspiracy at some point.
Booby streamers are good. I'm gay. I like boobs. So, you know. Just saying.
To my audience, there are a lot of people who showed up for Vaush, frankly, not me, but that's great, because if you've enjoyed this content, if seeing him was the highlight of your life, right? Well, then guess what? You get to see more of him and other big streamers who come through, right? And we give you a lot of other content, a lot of big content here on this channel. So do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. Hit that follow button. We've been doing a year of streaming here, right? And we've never missed a day, never missed a single day, right? And we get a lot of we get a lot of big people who come through, but we do a lot of stuff for you, right? So you'll always have more content here. Thank you, Soulker, for being so kind. SK5 Hot Tier 1 gift subs to the community. Thank you so much. That's really kind
I'm a
of you.
sucked up. You know this.
But yeah, we have so much here for you. So hit that follow button. Don't want you to have to miss out on all the other stuff that you've missed out before, all the great times. Hit that follow button right down. Hit that notification bell so you know I'm going live because we do it 6 days a week. But yeah, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was unexpected. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, you missed some. Oh boy. Gambit is making fun of me in chat. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna send you off. Come back tomorrow. We're gonna have our Royale, our primetime Royale. It's a thing that we do, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. You know what? I'm gonna send you this person.
But also, there's a really big streamer coming tomorrow, the largest one, Karana, bigger than Vaush. Hassan ain't got shit on me. Karana's gonna be there.
Hassan looks up to you.
All right.
I think Prime should try and get Amaranth on stream.
I would actually like to try to do that. I don't know if that's a possibility, but I would like to. She seems like she actually seems like a really interesting person.
Is she into politics?
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We also do like interviews and stuff. But yeah, I would love to have her on. I'll try to I'm not sure if she's an easy person to get a hold of. I imagine not. But I can give it a try.
Got you.
You got me? Okay.
Booba's got to unite, so I'll call her via cup size. I'll put my broad to my head and send my vibes out.
All right. Well, let's try. I've never rated this person before. But let's say hello to another very big streamer actually. And see what happens. Anyway, Jay, thank you all for being here. Come back tomorrow. We got more content for you. All right. So off you go. We're rating Melina. I've never talked to this person before. But we're saying hello. Be nice. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.